All right.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Mecha Pew Pew. I'm your host Jonathan, and I'm accompanied by a fabulous guest. We've introduced you guys before in recent episodes. We have Nate He from Montreal. We have how are you?
Good.
Nice. We have Derick Slu from Vancouver. How are you, Derick?
Hello. Good.
And
Thanks for having me again.
Hayden Qi from Vancouver as well. How have you been?
I'm all right.
Thank you. Welcome to the show, guys. I'm also accompanied with my co-host, Ariel Mecha.
Hey
How
guys,
have you been,
how's
Ariel?
it going? Good. I'm freaking excited. It's Thursday night, 9 p.m. here in Toronto. Everybody here is from different parts. We have people from Montreal.
Yeah.
We have people from Vancouver. We have people from the States. Want to quick shout out to everybody that's just joining in.
Nice.
I see VFX and Viper. I see Riot, both of them all the way in the West Coast. Makaka. Ooh, cool. Just finishing premiere. Here we go. LT Kuan, no, Lieutenant Kuan. Oh, that's Mo from
Yeah.
freaking
I think Makaka is Larry.
Oh,
Larry.
primering. Sorry. Yeah, just very excited to be here tonight with you guys. We have so many cool topics. Again,
Yeah,
guys,
it is.
simulcasting both on YouTube and Twitch. Just want to say hi to everybody there. Super Chat is also active. How am I doing that? This one, guys, here. So if you guys want to help out with the show, don't forget to check that out. It's on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
And then if you have any questions for our guest tonight, or any you just want to raise a hand or something, type in question on your comment, and I will try to get them sorted out with these guys.
Awesome.
That's my spiel. Take it
Cool.
away, John.
So, subject for tonight, seriously, Zeta Gundam. Tonight we're talking about the Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta from what year was that again?
Ooh.
What was the year of release?
1984. I believe.
Right?
5.
1985,
yeah.
and set
85.
in the
March
Universal
2nd.
Century. March 2nd. Nice.
1987.
And set in the Universal Century 00
87?
87.
87. Okay.
87.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right,
Before we continue, though, John, just a quick
Yeah.
thing. Riot over here just put another 3-month subscription to the Twitch channel. So big thank you and shout out to Riot, all the way our friend in the West Coast. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Riot.
Keep going, John.
Awesome. Where are we? So let's say. Oh, well, I mean that's introduction of the subject. Let's jump in the actual subject. So, Zeta Gundam. Where does it start? Right. I think it sets off from the end of the 1 year war. But so basically, all the in the real world, the 0079 was released and everything, and I think something we forgot to mention last time that was super important, and I think Derick wanted to pitch in on that.
What happened was, if you remember from the last episode, we talked about the movies that got released, right? Now, two important things happened at that moment when the movie was released. Prior to that, anime conventions were like a small thing. They were like done at university level stuff, right? But when the movie release premiered, as you can see from, these are actual newspaper clippings, right? 40,000 people descended into Shinjuku.
Wow.
Oh,
And yeah.
Let's
And
take
they
a moment to check that out. Right?
There's Tomino
There's Tomino in his,
in his
flare.
40s.
Yeah.
In his 40s.
In his 40s, and talking to a crowd of fans, right?
once upon a time, we were allowed to be in crowds.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh man,
We were allowed
man.
to be in
Yeah, this is
crowds.
really weird looking at it.
Talking about Shinjuku and crowds. If you ever go to Japan, do not go to Shinjuku on Halloween night.
Oh,
I've been molested. It's unbelievable. Like
It's crazy.
oh
crazy.
Lord.
Oh yeah.
Scary.
The only other crazier place would be not Shinjuku, but Azabujuban,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. No, Roppongi. Roppongi.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Roppongi.
All the clubs there.
Roppongi.
Woo!
It's the
Fun time.
yeah, that's it. It's actually a you know how Chinatown exists in multiple parts of the world. Roppongi is actually the well, they call it expat section of Tokyo, but it's actually like the immigrant section where like all the white people hang out, and like it's pretty.
When I was in Ippongi, it was
Expats.
just like there's just like a bunch of like people trying to lure me into like the hotels. It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah. That's
you
it.
want
Yeah,
sex?
yeah,
Hey, you want sex? And I look like I'm fucking like 18. Like I went there when I was like 18, 19. So I look even younger
Nice.
than I am now, and they're like, "You want sex?" It's like, dude, what the fuck?
Look at let's take a moment here to
It's
check
great.
out the cosplay, guys. The level
Oh,
of
yeah,
cosplay
Yeah.
on these.
So there's a lot to dig in here in these newspaper clippings. Well, for one, like there's a bunch of Shars. Like one of them is in full costume there, and then one of them is him when he was sitting at the bar after Garma passed, right?
Yeah.
He was
That is
drinking
a
and
sexy outfit. Like I really want to pull that
the
up. someday.
white tux and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, it's like because you're
If you look at the top there, you notice guys are actually already cosplaying as their favorite mobile suit. If you scroll up a bit,
Yeah, I saw
Right,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
that's it.
there's
Oh, look at that.
That is
Look at that.
badass.
dogs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like this opened it up so that, and the business is kind of new. Holy crap, we got, we can make money off of this. So from this point on, what we understand as big anime conventions started with this event.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if it wasn't for this event, we wouldn't have anime conventions as we know it.
The
Is this a
Exactly.
prediction of the 1-to-1 freaking
Yeah, that's
statue?
it.
Quite
like-
possibly, yeah.
Look at it, right? Like
Of
look at the
Well,
scale.
definitely. Like, no, it's okay. So this event is to promote the movie, and it's just like everybody. I think around this time heard that the show was being canned, and they wanted to show support, right? So most of these guys came out. They're from like universities. They're from high school clubs. A lot of them are just really into like that kind of like 80s, like 70s, 80s, like otaku culture, right?
And I can count at least 3 of us here are not even born yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
3
yeah,
or 4
exactly.
of us are not even born yet. An anime convention
Yeah,
is like
it's-
a thing already.
But can you
I
just
was
imagine?
I was a
can
wee
you-
toddler.
My God.
What's that?
Can you
What's
just
that name?
imagine, like, if you were on the staff of Mobile Suit Gundam, like your show just got canned, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like at the low point in your life where you're like, oh shit, like all my efforts were wasted. But then you come here and you see that kind of support. You know how?
Yeah,
how
look at his
how much that
shit-eating
was-
grin.
Look at this, man. Like,
Yeah.
He's just like so happy.
Look at
He's
that.
a
creator.
40-year-old man,
happy
you know?
right now about it.
Yeah.
That's the most hair that he's gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why we
Yeah.
found these photos. You know, like
Well,
that's the.
But that's it. That's the day he ascended to
Um,
like God on the
Yeah.
God tier. He loses hair because he's too wholesome and too holy for us.
He's like One Punch Man, except he's not.
Little-
there. He's not there yet. He hasn't lost all his hair.
Nice. But yeah, so this basically segues into the Zeta Gundam, where many years, how many years later the Zeta was released?
I think
you
4
guys-
more years after this event.
4 more years
because-
after that. Nice.
Yeah.
So production,
after
time
this-
for production, setting back up from the
Yep.
movies and everything, and they just know the support. They have basically the encouragement from the crowd, and basically probably the studios are like, well, it's worth an investment, right?
Oh, exactly. So they were like, Tomino, make another one. And I was
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Okay, sure.
It's hard to live
And-
up to
Yeah, the
to
original.
Gundam, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So based on this, let's talk a little bit about like what happened in the show, right? Let's define the key points of the show that went on. I think we need to set up the prequel first, which is Char's Deleted Affair. And Char's Deleted Affair is a manga released between 2001 and 2009. Basically, it's released after, but a prequel to Zeta. So it sets up how it happened. How it happened is end of 1 year war. Basically, Char moves to Axis to basically like, retreat a little and take a break from the war. He's duty to being the young Haman's security. Haman falls in love with older Char. Char sleeps with Haman's best friend. Then later on, a coup is made towards Axis General, which happens to be Haman's father, right? Char helps Jessica Diaz solves the murder. Haman kills her best friend and plot twist the Char's unborn child. Char needs to leave and signs up to be a spy with the Federation, to spy on Federation's Titan that's growing, and basically joins the AUG with his Rick Diaz. This sets up basically the story for Zeta, right? Because when it happened back then, you just see a random dude called Quattro join the AUG, and you're like, what is happening, how did he get there, how did he transfer to the Federation, being like basically the Zeon soldier. Yeah. So this is where it starts, right? This is the first episode. We see Char spying on a new Gundam because there's an entity called the AUG that just happens to be there, right?
Is that how it's pronounced? AUG?
AUG?
Yeah, it's AUG.
Anti-Earth Union.
Union group.
Group. Yeah. Okay.
I think one important thing, also precursor to Zeta, was like something that was made way later, just like Char's Elite Affair was Stardust Memory, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything about that, but that show had a direct correlation to the creation of the Titans, which is the main antagonist in the Zeta Gundam show.
Yeah. Exactly. But let's go on with the story. You're absolutely right. Like, is that there's an entity called the Titans that is created, and
can we insert 2 questions here, John, for you?
Absolutely. I love questions.
Here's one from Wild Steak here. What would their kid's name be? I guess that's
I think they actually mentioned it. They actually said,
do you recall what it was?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Bobby.
yeah, that's it, Bobby. But I think they did mention something. I need to get that manga
confirmed.
Yeah, and the next question here is from Neon Wave. How old
was
Amon?
Too young.
That is a very great question. Not that, because
Definitely
so Amon became, because you're on a small asteroid and you're just like living in a military facility. You make friends like regardless of age, right? So Amon was about 12 to 13 when she met Char for the first time, and Char was like 23, 24 or something like that, and basically Haman's best friend was probably 19 or something, 18, 19. Haman took it like very badly. Like, it was a betrayal by both sides.
She's literally like a teenager in this.
So yeah, that's it. She had
that makes
like
total sense. I don't think teenagers can handle breakup easily, even in real life. So
exactly. At that point.
But it's
especially
very
if you're like
right?
Haman too. Haman is like got a lot of spite in her.
But I think that's where it all stems from. That is like, this is the creation of the spiteful Haman, where like she was betrayed by like Char, and then like and later on you see it later on in Zeta, right? We're gonna get to it, but like it sets up something like very interesting.
The age thing is definitely something like really deep rooted in Japanese like differences from our like kind of like palette, like how age is like really weird in Japan in our perspective. But that's like a separate discussion we're not going to go into. But a lot of the characters made like very similar for that reason.
But it's actually very questionable that so Char has always been like a lolly fan, as they made him, but in that series he's very like he's not pushing it. Well, yeah, he is pushing away Haman. I don't know if it's for political reasons, but he's just like, oh no, we can't be together because.
I mean, she's literally like usurped herself to become the leader of like this renegade nation. That's a lot of responsibility to take in, especially during a time when like his name was 4 vaginas, right? Like Quattro Vagina. Like he doesn't have time to think about like owning like an empire, just kind of like from like Char's counterattack, right? It hasn't happened yet. This is his like thinking chapter of his life. Yeah,
his sabbatical.
John, are we still at the talking like the
well, basically we're introducing the show, right? The start of the show, how it sets up in the story and why does it happen, right? So we have a few characters that are introduced early on. I mean, Char, like we all know, I think when we all saw him, I think it's the same voice actor as well. So we know that the audience knows that Quattro is Char. It's not yet clear in the show, but basically they're spying on he's investigating into the new Black Gundam that's been happening. Right, he's investigating for AUG, which is the anti-Earth unit group.
Yeah, it kind of parallels the beginning of the original Gundam, where it's like there's a reconnaissance mission, right?
Yeah, that's it. But so the question is he doing a reconnaissance for AUG or for Zeon? Because right now he's a spy for Axis. Right?
I was pretty sure he was already a Yug, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's, but
Like,
is
by
he
this
doing
point,
it
right?
for AU?
Oh,
or for
okay.
Zeta?
You're saying
Yeah.
like thematically, we don't know yet, right?
Yeah,
Because
that's
he
it.
has a new suit and everything. Okay, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So at the point we're introduced to a new character called Camille, which is later on becoming like the main hero of the story. I mean, Char's always been the hero, but you know.
You know what
For
I
now.
wanted to do before we got to this? I was gonna say we should play that game describing Zeta in a very, very horrible way.
You always do
Uh,
that. Jesus
Can we do
Christ.
that still? I think it's gonna be
Okay.
fun.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Okay. So,
So
who's starting?
from our previous shows, I think it's just kind of fun little segue where we would ask our guests and everybody in the show to describe the series and seriously in the worst way possible description summary of the event. So why don't we start with Derick? Let's go with that one.
Oh
Derick,
wow!
describe Zeta
You know,
Gundam in a
Zeta
bad
Gundam
way.
in a bad way.
Water shit.
Let's see. I would word it like this: socially awkward teenager makes bad life choices in every single way.
Yeah.
There. And ends up a
Gundam.
vegetable.
Gundam.
That's it. Zeta Gundam.
All right, Nate, what do we got? Describe Zeta in a worst way possible.
I would just say, kid penetrates giant yellow monster from the front.
Where's my buzzer?
You get that reference?
Oh my god. We're gonna skip a bit. John, describe Zeta in a bad way.
A kid, overly sensitive kid, goes on to avenge his name and his love with a psychotic machine, I guess. Girl machine.
That's
Yeah, let's do it.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, good enough. Yeah.
And I love how Avenge's name is like, if you've seen the series, you know what it means, but like Avenge's name sounds like so noble, but for him it's just like a
some guy. Nate, not Nate. Sorry, Hayden. What do we got on this one, man?
I was thinking new type human vegetable blender.
Oh no.
I get that.
So bad. So bad.
You'll get it if you guys watch the show. But yeah.
Oh my god.
Or at the end of this show.
Or at the end of the show.
Watermelon. Yeah, watermelon crashes into the robot. Okay, anyways.
Nice.
All right. So oh my
Ariel.
God.
Yes.
Privileged kid jumps on daddy's new whip, takes it for a joyride, kills a whole bunch of stuff, got slapped a few times.
What was that like the exact same one? I was like, this is the exact same one as 0079. Beautiful. Which is also accurate.
It is so accurate.
Oh,
He
this
stole
show, this show solidified the Bright slap into like it's
true.
Bright got
He got
slapped though.
He
You
got
guys
slapped
know that?
hard.
no, he
No.
didn't.
Bright got
Double Zeta.
Double Zeta.
Double
He
Zeta.
got slapped. But
Oh,
no,
yeah,
he
this
got
one
slapped at Zeta. Yeah.
by Camille.
No, by Titans. By Titans.
Oh
By
yeah,
Titans.
by Titans.
Titans
But
slapped
his
him.
his slap to Camille solidified him in Gundam lore as the new type creator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone
in the
got
show too, like Tomino got the nickname. Kill them all.
Oh my
So that was
Kill them all,
victory.
Tomino.
That was victory.
That's true.
That was
That is
victory,
true.
yeah.
But no, Zeta had a lot of deaths too, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's ramping up.
Yeah.
We have one more addition here from Riot. Kid turns into vegetable after making bad life choices, and I think he's
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
echoing that one right there.
The
Awesome.
wheelchair. The wheelchair.
So, John, let's continue on with the
Yes.
summary on
So-
this one.
Basically, how I was describing about defending his name. Camille gets triggered by a Titan. So Titans at this point are one of the elite team of the Earth Federation, right? They're almost given their own right into military decisions. They can do whatever they want. They have their own research teams. They have
Yeah.
like their own action teams. They have their own generals. They have their own. It's literally it's a subsection, but they became stronger and having more power and decisive political power into the military than the Earth Federation themselves. So at this point, if you're a Titan, you're a badass. Like you're bad, and you know it, and you walk around and everything. So at this point, there's this young kid who's just like he's been laughed at this entire life for his name, and then one of the Titan goes, "Oh, I thought I heard a girl's name." Turns around and he sees a boy, and then you have like that triggered. Yeah, that's it. You have that heavy trigger. It's now a meme. The guy gets triggered. He goes. I think he punched him or something.
I
He
think
Jumped over.
He
He
punched the
jumped over
shit
the
out of
third
Jared.
child,
yeah.
and
Yeah. He punched a Titan officer.
lunging.
Yeah, that's it.
What the
Yeah.
punch?
Imagine you're a kid who's punching an ace pilot. You're like, oh, okay.
Ace pilot.
No, that's it. I mean, by ranking, he is.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. Yeah.
After that, well, he gets triggered, and then everything escalates quickly. Runs away, jumps into a brand new machine he found on the airbase, which happens to be a Gundam Mark II.
So hang on, before we continue on that, guys, your thoughts on security for Federation. Nate, what do you think?
I think it's just a joke. If this series, I mean, like, not to get into spoilers, 0083 had the security problems. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Zeta just took it up to the
Like
just
11.
different level, man. The
Yeah.
number of times I was telling the guys, like the number of times you see Camille just take off in a Gundam without like anybody, like
In
Yeah,
it, it's like I'm watching it.
Like, there's an operating system in there. Just put a password,
Yeah.
or there's
Yeah,
a
just-
machine. Just
yeah.
put a key in. I mean, it's.
But it was
It's
probably
easy,
a Windows password that you can go escape from, and then you just run off.
That's so fucking stupid. God. But I think I will say one thing though. So you were describing the Titans, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I think-
Titans essentially they are the SS, right, in the
Yeah.
Nazi
Yeah, exactly.
party, right? Kind of like a subdivision of these superior quote unquote men who have kind of like more like they can make decisions that affect great change, right? And because of the creation of this, anti-Earth Union group was created. AUG themselves are like a mixture of a bunch of people from different alliances from the 1 Year War, right? There were like people who worked for Xeon. There's some that are previously from Earth Federation, especially like Bright Noah, right? The great commander that we saw from the 1 Year War. He joins AUG after getting like the shit beaten out of him by a Titans officer. Right.
Well, it's also important, like the way you're mentioning is that why did Titan get created is also because back in Shardzilla the Fair, the reason why the coup existed on Aman's father, the general, was that there was two types of Zeon. Zeon got split into two factions, which was the remnant of Zeon and Axis. Axis is is owned by the Principality of Zeon, but is where like they still have their military base and stuff like that. And then the remnant of Zeon is basically, it's not two faction, I'm gonna say, it's two different political ideologies that
they
exist.
crumbled out of the remaining alliance.
Yeah, exactly.
basically.
So
Yeah.
Axis, it wants to be peaceful. Axis is like, like guys, Federation, we're cool. Let's just there's a peace going on. We're okay. Remnant is basically we're going to do kamikaze attacks. We're going to start attacking the Earth Federation whenever we have a chance. And this war is not over until the last surviving member of Zeon. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? So because
it
of that,
happens when what happens when there's like a lack of leadership too, right? There's no face to
that's
Zeon,
it.
which is what Haman like wanted to become, right? Because
Yeah.
she had direct control over. At the time, wasn't important. What was her name? Minerva. The
Minerva
woman-
Zabi, yeah.
Minerva, yeah.
So that
the
is
Zabi,
actually
the
a
last
very
Zabi.
important. Yeah, it's a very important part of it because Minerva Zabi is she's a baby, right? But she's the last remaining survivor of the Zabi family, the
She's
leaders of Zeon.
royal blood. She's of royal blood.
Haman is she's a teenager, so she's not really. She's the daughter of general, so she still has some power, but not. She has nothing, right? But she
By
still has
title
to
only,
build.
but not by blood. Kind
No,
of.
that's it. She has she has to work to get her title, and while Minerva Zabi is basically entitled to the position. So basically, Haman watches over Minerva so that she grows up to be a great leader and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this happens that the remnant of Zeon exists, and Titan is created to hunt down the last remnant of Zeon. They use old Zeon technology because they were the best at research and development, and now so they have like badass suits. What all the Advance of Zeta series follows suit and blah blah blah. Yeah, where were we now? So basically that's it, and this is why. Yeah, so this is why the AU was created, was to watch over the Titans. The Titan was to hunt down the Zeon. Yeah. All right. Now, basically, I
forwarded too much. I think we're here where you're talking about.
Exactly.
That's all right.
Really lacks security.
So very iconic. This scene right
shot's
here.
iconic. Yeah.
I've seen many iterations of dioramas in past contests, 80s, 90s, even till now, recreating this event. This is the first, I guess, image of like, you know, twin Gundams, like side by side. Also, this is when the Titans show off their version, their colors. And I think Quatra is the one that's like with that camera, he's like taking pictures, similar almost to what they did for the first series, right? They have spies going into the development colony, takes photos, gets their ass kicked, a Gundam gets stolen. Like within that formula, kind of.
I think they do that just to like remind everybody again, like this is Gundam, right? Like you're watching Gundam now again, and the same thing's happening, right? So it makes a lot of sense in that context too. But yeah, I was talking a little bit about like Camille. I think when we were preparing for this whole presentation, it's just like the fact that Camille has like this. We were saying like he's like annoying or brash or something like that, but he just like feels like he has to lots to prove, right?
Yeah.
Like Derick's
big chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, huge chip on his shoulder.
Because what you get to remember is, his father financed the development and building of the Mark II, so he comes from an affluent family. Yeah. So because of that,
kid takes like karate lessons to protect himself too, right? He's always in a hurry. He doesn't like being made fun of because I think he's trying to like overcompensate the fact that like, oh, my parents are rich, but I don't want you to see me like I'm that kind of guy, right? Yeah. So stealing, he takes up the Mark II. He just kind of like takes it, and then he takes off with Lieutenant Quattro, right? But it's just to show his like distaste for authority, right? In the first episode, he even gets like interrogated by like a Titans officer, right? And he's like, "No, fuck you guys. Like, you guys just work for my dad or something." You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Oh, there's a big development with Camille, again, being our protagonist in the story. Similar to Amuro kind of getting conscripted to fight in a mobile suit instead of fleeing away, it's joined by like this ragtag crew of things. There's a lot of like growth development. Again, Zeta, I believe, and we talked about this, like very big on world building and character building. We are now expanding the Gundam universe post-wars. This is before all the prequel side stories also, like Gundam Zeta being the second series on the Gundam franchise. Let's talk about Camille a little bit because like there's a lot of things that happened to the guy like that made him really effed up and crazy. The next scene here, just going on with the story, very impactful story. It's like the loss of his mother.
But that's so basically he runs off with the Mark II. Literally, he runs off to space with another crew, like you were saying. Like he joins the Argama where Quattro was there. He intercepted Camille, so now he's basically in the suit. And what happens next? You want
boom. Crack. One guy, one jar. Oh my God!
One guy, one jar. Jesus Christ.
I think the worst part is like, if I remember correctly, it was Jared who shot the case, right?
Yeah.
And the worst part is that Titans officer, Jared, because he was new, he didn't even know that the mother was in there.
A person.
Yeah, there was someone in there.
It's just bad shit happening at the worst times and creating these kind of like miscommunicated things, right? But to Camille, like to a young teenager like that's a lot. And on top of that, the mother is the only person that he kind of like really like has
Cares about.
cares about, because the father, like he's rich, he runs off like with a mistress, he's always like going away, doing other stuff in different colonies, right? So the only consistent person in his life is gone now, though. Except
And
like
his father was not even like the best, because like, okay, a bit of like contrast in 0079, it was Amuro's father who's like the figure father and all that stuff like he holds on to, whereas this one here was more of his mother. But his father, on the big contrary, he has like a side piece that they almost like got together, so he doesn't give a rat's ass about the kid really or the mother at this point.
Wait, you can't say that. You can't say you don't like your kid or your ex-wife because you have something
that we know of. Sorry, he actually has one side piece that we know of.
That we know of.
Multiple, yeah.
So with all the protagonists, are we gonna jump into continuing on with the characters, or like do you want to continue on?
Yeah, let's continue with the story, and then we jump in and explain the what happens, right? And we can join the characters along the way and stuff. So his family gets murdered, and then now Camille is on a ship that's basically going to hunt down Titans and basically travel. And in between the scenes, Camille comes out with some plans that he's figuring out. He's like, oh, this is a cool mobile suit, but my father's a designer and everything. I'm sure I could do something myself. And then I think like the scene, he was just sitting at a computer and starts designing a mobile suit.
Yeah.
Which is
full range access to it.
The creation of Zeta was a little bit inconsistent for my taste. I remember when I was a kid and I was watching Zeta because I really like Zeta, and I was like, I gotta know like everything about Zeta. And I watched it. I'm like, wait, this motherfucker just put some like beep beep bop bop on his fucking calculator. And then like next episode, he's like, "Oh, my shipment came." Like the Zeta Gundam, some fucking Amazon package.
Amazon ordered.
Like, it makes
hey, is there
no
a Camille
sense.
here? She needs to sign for this.
It's like, can you get that FedEx officer for me? Just he needs to sign this. Yeah, whatever. Just don't worry about it. I made it. And it was really weird because it's not like Amuro, where Amuro kind of like was shown that he was techie and he was fixing the machine himself. And we kind of knew that from the establishment, right? But from Camille, our first impression was this kid's just hot-headed and he likes to punch officers and fuck authority. So like, I didn't understand how he was so good at it. But a lot of new types are very focused on something that they like. Like once they're on a task, they would just do it. So I guess it makes sense in that regard. But the creation of Zeta was a little bit odd for my taste.
For me, it was just very fast-paced. That I think there was that shot of the Zeta on the computer screen there, and then and Camille had that his friend who was working in the hangar. I forgot his name, but he literally glances over his shoulder, saying, "Hey, what's that? Oh, it's the new mobile suit I'm like designing." So, oh, cool.
Yeah, casually making by myself.
Oh, nothing. Just a giant robot I just drew up over lunch hour.
Yeah, AE, they'll make it for me. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
All the complexities of like robotic design and wave rider transformation, movable frame.
Space magic.
Reactor, everything.
That was really funny.
Was it the first transformable mobile suit? Or was there anything? No, I think that was the first.
In the UC timeline, it's not. I don't think, because there's like the Ashimar, right?
Yes.
There's like
yes,
Plant, or Gaza C, right? Like,
but that's nothing mainstream, right? It's all research and development. Yeah. So he kind of made a transformable mobile suit. It's like, I invented I invented a car, but like without ever seeing a car in my life. So like, it can roll and there's no horses or so, like inventing a new technology, even if the technology already exists, he made it without like knowing about it, which is
it's just some like little inconsistency in the show here or there. Like there's definitely cracks, right? I mean, this show was very ambitious. Like it was a very big project, right? Yeah. Like,
I just want to circle
back. The main reason why they added, just want to continue on the transformation. Sorry, one of the main reasons why Sunrise decided to add in transformations was they had a new competitor on the block, and that competitor on the block was Macross.
Robotech.
Yeah.
Macross slash Robotech. Robotech
Macross.
didn't come in until when
dare you.
Zeta was released, but
No,
Macross was
Robotech's cool.
1981.
Yeah.
Right.
And in 1985, they had the movie Do You Remember Love, which blew everybody away, right? So for them, the show is like, yeah, we got to have transforming robots because that's what the people want. That's what the kids are willing to want to play with. And at around the same time, Transformers was going on the uptick. People were buying Transformers like crazy.
And the thing is, like with transformation, again, very very cool gimmick. It wasn't the first transformable kit, I don't think. No, that's sorry, design. But the development of the transformation, I don't think just jumped from like one to like right onto that. I was gonna say, didn't he have like the Wave Rider? No, the Mark II on some kind of like wave.
Oh yeah, it's like a base jabber.
The Super
Oh
Gundam.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, there's
technically he
the
had
Super
an-
Gundam and the
Oh, yeah.
base jabber like machine, right?
Right. So he probably just put like, oh, okay, I'm gonna combine these guys together, and then hey, now it's a transformable thing.
This isn't fucking Play-Doh. You can't just do that.
Yeah.
It's not. God. I'm not offended. I'm like, oh, geez. It's the more we talk about it, the dumber it gets. But yeah.
Let's talk about. Let's continue on. John, let's.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So after that, basically they travel through space. They have a few adventures, like a lot of like fillers, right? Like they hit La Vie en Rose. Oh, is it now or is it later? I'm not even sure if it's.
La Vie en Rose is on the way there, I think.
Yeah,
On the
that's
way.
it. There's on the way. They hit La Vie en Rose, which is like a depot for replenishment of ships and everything. Tons of ship living there. It's a pretty. Actually, they have a kit of that. I think it's discontinued these days, but it was like pretty impressive in terms of like a massive
La Vie en Rose kit.
ship kit. Oh, that would be really cool to have. But
a question here.
Absolutely.
Misala was the first on-screen transforming mobile suit, right? Masala,
Well, it would be the Asramar.
But it's still from Zeta,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's still from Zeta. Zeta is still
Yeah.
the first transformable.
Yeah, I think Masala showed up a little bit later, like way later. If it's before, if Masala appeared before episode 18 or like 22, something like that, that's when like the Ash Shamar and even Zeta Gundam, right? Because it transforms.
It was when the Psycho Gundam was fighting the Mark II, so it was even pre-Zeta that the Ashmar showed up, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be it.
So
The Asramar would be the
technically,
first one.
Ashmar would be the first one to transform. Yeah, good question there, Riot. Thank you for that. Oh, sorry, that question was from Rando.
So at this point, we're introduced to a new character, Paptimus Shiroko. So Paptimus Shiroko is a high general from Jupiter, the Jupiter Axis. I don't think Jupiter is brought up a lot in terms. There's no story about Jupiter in the entire UC universe, right?
No, they had to. I think they put Jupiter in as a filler for saying, "Oh, how are we getting this fuel? It's not. We're not using fossil fuels anymore, right?"
Yeah, that's it. Sim
then they said,
Gundam.
There's a colony out in Jupiter that's mining all this stuff.
Yeah,
and they're far away so that we don't have to deal with them right now.
Because apparently that's the only way you can make Gundanium is with the pressure of Jupiter atmosphere or something like that, and then you can actually create Gundanium in such a high pressure environment. And this is where it comes from.
Initially, it was called like the lunar titanium, right? Which is from the moon, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
But then Gundanium became its own thing. So I'm honestly like all this stuff is just fluff, man. Like,
but it's like it's retcon all the time and whatever. So
it's like it's just things in the show, like in the world to make it more interesting, and then it's just like whatever, right? It's not a huge deal.
I really like the the segment to this because I think for some of the audience, especially the ones that are probably new to Zeta or even familiar with Zeta, there are multiple sides of the story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
It's very important because like we've been mentioning when we built this show, how we could define Zeta is it's a world building show, right? And because it's world building, we have a lot of faction that are created that basically defines all their own origin and basically all together creates the universal century. One of them being Anaheim Electronics, IM Electronics has which one do we see in? Because IM Electronics has two main bases on the moon. There's what is it? Rambon?
Granada, isn't it? One.
Yeah,
There's Von Braun and
Von Braun and Granada. Yeah, so two of them
That's right, yeah,
are
Von
one supplies Xeon and one supplies Federation, which is extremely funny. I would hold them accountable if I was one of the Federation officer, but whatever. Anyway,
there were other
colony on the moon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
After that, L'Avion Rose, like we said, is another. It's not a faction, but it's like a replenishing post where you can your ship gets there. It's pretty important in the series. It establishes like that there's multiple places in along the Universal Century in the L axis of the colonies. Jesus. After that, we have many more faction like AUG and Titans that we talked about. What do you think, Nate?
All right, so we know.
my segue game is so weak; it's unbelievable.
This
It's
is
okay.
fucking next level.
I mean, back in Gundam, the first Gundam, 0079, you only had what? You only had the Earth Federation and Xeon, which were like the big players, right? So Zeta kind of upped the game here a little bit by introducing just more than two factions in the show. So of course, the first up, the three main ones that we see are AUG, right? The Anti-Earth Union group. You have the Titans, and you have Axis Xeon, which is the faction of Xeon that remain on the asteroid base at Axis. And later on, we're getting introduced to Optimus, Shiroko, and the Jupiter fleet, which is the fleet that was the Xeon fleet that was actually not the Xeon fleet, the fleet that was responsible for mining the helium-3 on the surface of Jupiter, which powered a lot of the reactors. In the first.
And apparently he's a massively powerful new type, but apparently nobody knows. He actually I think he almost
He's super
discovers
low key about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think to talk about some of the comments in the thing, Masala did appear when Camille and Quattro, not Char, fought against the Masala, but they didn't know or anything like that. It was like really quick. Like Masala was super quick, right. And I think it was like a foreshadowing of like what's to come and everything too, right?
Wasn't he also scouting? I remember that episode. He was like very far away.
He was just like fucking around. Shiroko's always just fucking around, he's just always doing whatever he kind of like wanted, and that's the case with like Jupiter. I think Jupiter, like the people from Jupiter in all like canons of Gundam, have like this special low-key crazy power that Earth Federation's like not paying attention to, or like the main world government never pays attention to. So like new type underscore like SV is right. He's saying like, the 00, like the GN drive engines too, right? Like they came from Jupiter. So it's like it's a thing.
But that part gets explored later in Victory Gundam in more depth. Yeah. Right, but at the moment, Jupiter Colony in itself is a very, very powerful faction, mainly because they are the only source and have a monopoly on the fuel source, right, and the metals. Mm-hmm. You can't get them anywhere else. They can't be made anywhere else. They can't be mined anywhere else, right? So, the political power they hold is really,
crazy.
Really high.
It's
so
when they. Yeah, when they're done exploring, like this is still like early UC considered in the entire timeline, right? Maybe like midway through at this point now, and we're getting Jupiter. So like in later on in UC, they definitely explore more of that aspect. Jupiter. Yeah.
So Shiroko's main goal when coming to Earth is well, I think he came as like an ambassador for Jupiter, or like an affiliate, like business affiliate or something. But in the end, he had a hidden agenda. He wanted to basically he came to watch over Titans. But it's been proven that he was there the entire time to basically take over the Earth sphere, right? Slowly and surely going into the biggest faction. Taking over the biggest faction, so he's able to control the Earth sphere. So he puts his plan into motion. The AUG realizes what's happening. They kind of like go on into like a fight mode. I can say like they hunt down like the. So what happens at this point in time, right? Shiroko arrives. He basically sets up all the Titans into like a faction.
And then,
Well,
well, let's talk about the
this-
Titans. Like, sorry, go on, Derek. Go on.
For sure.
So basically the Titans here, I guess if we're gonna go into the background of the Titans, was created in a 0083 by Basque Ohm, right?
Yeah.
So he for some spoilers on 0083, people should watch. To
Absolutely.
see how
If you have
Titans was
not
created.
seen it, freaking amazing,
Watch
by the way.
We'll talk about it in another episode
Yeah.
as well. We'll go.
Yeah.
So just a little quick overview is Basque Ohm came out top dog, leader of Titans, proved why there needed to be Titans, and it just grew from there, right? Like a cancer in a big body. And through that, they did lots of experiments. And one of the experiments was creating cyber new types like 4, right?
Yes.
And we'll talk about that in a bit. But what happened is that, Basque was wary of Shiroko at first in the story, but he got freaking killed by Rekoa, right? And then because the Titans became leaderless, the next strongest thing was Shiroko's political sphere. So the remnants of the Titans, which was kind of like at this point led by Jared, if you will. He was like the point man a little bit. They decided to attach their success to Shiroko's faction, and that became a big faction. And
It's like a loyalty pledge. Like he hired Shiroko, like saying like, "Oh, you like the Titans, right? We're top dog, right?"
Yeah.
But Shiroko has his own plans, obviously, right? He was never loyal to the Titans. It's just like a
Hey guys,
excuse
one thing
for him
before
to
we
do
continue,
whatever.
especially with Basque here, and something I've observed for the longest time. I don't know if you guys could confirm this for me. I want you guys to give me a thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up, everyone. Thumbs up. Okay, now look at your thumb,
Oh, Jesus
and then
Christ.
look at Basque.
This is the glasses, bro.
Fucking stop! I'm gonna thought you had cancer or something, and I was like, Jesus.
But I always
I-
loved his like his Riddick glasses were always like fascinating to me.
yeah,
Oh,
Are you
man.
talking about your thumbs or the or Bosque?
And another big
Okay.
spoiler
Alright,
alert. We
I'm
were
done.
talking about 083 that kind of helped establish him being the top dog. What was that, Derek?
for Basque,
Yeah.
he created the circumstances that for sure made him the top dog to prove that there was a reason. Now, like the reason how he orchestrated it, I was going to save for the time when we talk about 0083 or else.
Okay.
No spoilers for that one, right? Yet.
So,
Yeah. So future episode, and plus, guys, watch it. So basically, with that said, like they get together, and Shiroko was like, as John said, they were gonna basically he wanted to take over Earth Sphere because it's also part of his he's also narcissistic as fuck, right? So we were gonna hold literally Earth hostage with the colony laser. And
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
AU was like scrambling to find out where the fuck is it.
Yeah.
And it turns out,
So because it's basically the AU's job to watch over the Titans, right? They were like the Titans police, like from different factions, basically a third party organization specifically hired to do that.
I mean, like, the Titans. Well, okay, yeah. Let's talk about this. So, like, Gemitov is the founder of Titans, right? Because he appeared in Stardust Memory.
That's
and
correct.
then after that, you have all these high-ranking officers, but I think Bosque is just like really. I think he's the guy who stood out to me the most.
Yeah.
I think, like, other than M-Machine, other than
But like a true
Jared.
Titan, like a true
Yeah,
Titan is
Bosque
like
is
taking the reins
definitely-
and is like making decision, kicking ass, and
Yeah.
You don't
Gemitov
need
is
to
just
be-
like a political figure that
that's it.
they all respond to. But yeah.
I
But
think
yeah,
Bosque just has the classic design of that like space Nazi.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dark clothes, the special, task division, the no red tape for them. They've done a lot of questionable actions.
Mhm.
They've even fired on their own people just to make the mission work. And I think that kind of gave them the precedence of, hey, we're gonna do whatever it takes to do it. And Earth Feds are like, well, they're badasses. We have them. We're gonna use them, and we're not gonna question them because they protect us. And then later on, with their own political agenda, that's where I think most of Zeta unraveled, right? Like a lot of them, like his
Like
secret plan and secret plans are kind of like
because the thing is, you have to keep in mind that Titan's point of view was that Xeon had a great research and development, and they took over that. Right, not only in terms of machines, but also in terms of people. Their new type was obviously like one of their strongest assets of Xeon, like having like struck such powerful people like fighting in the war. And what they wanted is their own research and development into creating these people it with like drugs. I don't know how they mind. That's it. How do you control the mind of someone? Yeah, it's basically like brainwashing, surgery, drugs, all the kind of stuff that basically like I think Nazis have been actually accused of doing so.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them did, and then actually one of the main factors for like modern science, like a lot of this stuff comes from like fucked up research from the Nazis.
Yeah.
Operation Paperclip, America like hired a lot of Nazi soldier or Nazi research scientists, to do their stuff.
Just also another thing to add is they also took it from their own mythos, because there's a unit called the Japanese unit called Unit 731. Who did a lot of human experimentation back in World War II.
Oh yeah. But I mean, keep in mind, Japan was on Germany's side in this war, right?
Yeah,
like they're kind of allied. You have to keep that in mind. So like they're
probably research buddies.
If you guys are interested, and you guys probably have seen or heard of it, Man in the High Castle. It's an Amazon series, TV. That one, very, very cool. Again, it's just totally segueing from what we're talking about. Just want to plug it in because I saw the first season of that one. Amazing story. It is a alternate universe where the U.S. lost the World War II.
Keep in mind, the U.S. didn't really win. The world win.
The world, what I meant, like the Allied,
the American
forces.
point of view. The Americans won. What?
But the thing is, like,
World
not
War.
To give spoiler, because this is all trailers. Nazi took over half of the states, divided it right in the middle, and Japan took on the West Coast. And the story is like within the states. Anyways, I just thought that we're talking about that and like the similarities. Like that was one interesting thing. Like what ifs? If you guys are interested in cool stories.
Yeah,
that's all. Let's continue on.
Yeah. So basically,
why were we talking about drugs again? What was that leading?
That's it.
Oh, that was leading up to 4. The creation of 4.
Exactly. Okay. That's it. I was going into cyber new types. Created 4 a cyber new type. Probably one of the only one who could pilot the brand new machine from the Titans, the Psycho Gundam. Do we have a picture for the Psycho Gundam? I don't even know.
I don't think
we got that one. No.
Oh, we should. No. Well, the Psycho Gundam is one of the biggest and most impressive mobile suit. I think, is it mobile armor? I mean, it's just a giant mobile suit technically.
Giant mobile suit mostly.
Are you talking about Psycho?
Yeah.
I mean, like it's technically mobile armor, but like at this point, like they're just robots, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, they're robots.
Yeah. Basically, Camille falls in love with Ford because he basically meets her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He basically meets her in in weird circumstances. They kind of talk to each other. She's a little quirky girl and whatever. What you don't realize that she's like an engineer killing machine.
Yeah,
great, right?
That's it. So basically, she gets like controlled and she gets into the machine and she starts attacking everything in her path and it's destructive, right? She goes on, and Camille tries to stop her with feelings and love, and you know,
new type. Yeah, I think one thing we definitely have to talk about is just like the idea of cyber new types.
Oh
and
yeah,
I think what kind of like it's such an interesting concept, right? It's kind of like if in the Star Wars world, like some crazy scientist is trying to create like artificial Jedis or something, right?
Yeah.
Like they're tampering with forces that they don't understand. And like back to the theme of the first show that we did, right? We were talking about how like new types is like something abstract, right? And like, you know, in some ways like gravity is also abstract in our real world, but we create machines in this fixed system to make it work, even though we don't naturally know like what is something in our world, right? And it's the same thing for new types. So they started creating cyber new types, right? But it's also like you're fucking with like human consciousness. Like it's not something that's like, it's super abstract, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think cyber new types are like, they're called cyber because like they're artificial and they're not real, they're not genuine, they're not naturally like born, right? So there's always like some kind of defect. And like 4 wasn't the only cyber new type, right? There was another there was another woman who I forgot her name, is the tip of my tongue, but she was obsessed.
It's I know this one. What was it, Nate?
Is it Rosamia?
Yeah, she was the first.
She was the first. All I know is that she was the one who was obsessed with the fact that Camille was her older brother. It's kind of just like I think they were saying like consciously it's the base cases for something that she can attach to and needs to be stabilized. If not, then she will go haywire because there's no case basis for stability, right? Yeah. And she later gets like brainwashed into thinking like someone else is the older brother, and that way they use her as a weapon, right? So it's a lot of like unethical, operations, right? So
exactly.
And you have to keep in mind that like cyber new type, the concept of cyber new type is essentially basically genetic engineering, taken to the extreme.
Taken to the crazy extremes, and
when Zeta was made, in the 1980s, it was this in the real world, it was just merely like a theory, right? It wasn't even
Actually, last year, somebody did like genome splicing, I think, and like he did something super unethical in China. Without the government's permission or anything, he just kind of like did it with like some financial factors.
Yeah, he cloned a baby, I think, or something.
Like they had a HIV, like the woman had HIV, but he claimed that the twins that were born out of her didn't have HIV. It was like gene editing, right? So we're seeing kind of like slow glimpses of that kind of science fiction coming to life, and it's kind of exciting, but it's also kind of it raises a lot of like ethical questions that we need to have a proper discussion in the future, right? Because the technology will come. But I think Tomino's stance is pretty like solidified. It's just the idea that like we humans should not tamper with something that we don't really like understand. And I think that's a pretty popular sentiment post 60s Japan, right? Like after the infrastructure has already been like created in the country, there's like in the 70s, I read this from a research paper about like mecha history and how that correlates with like Japanese society. And what happened was like they said like in the 60s, a lot of people they were like kind of seeing like Soviets and Americans like going into space, and they thought it was like super interesting, right? So they were very pro technology and advancement. But then once like 70s hit, companies started fucking up. There's like oil spills and stuff like that, and the hippie movement, and then it just became like the message became the opposite, where like, oh, we shouldn't like fuck with things we don't understand.
And the thing is, like, it's a lot of real world science, or at the time, has been put into these series. It's very, at that time, kind of like shocking. But like to us, now that we've seen, more research about it, more information, it's more for like more information that we now understand a bit better.
And it's slightly scary also how they put it in the show, right? It's just like almost real compared to like nowadays anime, Gundam shows. It feels magical. Now back then it feels like it's just holy shit, that's a bad experiment gone wrong. That's it. But yeah, to continue basically on the subject of Zeta, at this point she is for the genetically engineered girl is killed by Jared, the asshole guy from the Titan.
Yeah.
But that's okay. What was it? Camille will get his revenge.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so basically now I think they retreat after a while because it was a massive battle with the giant Psycho Gundam. And at some point, I believe that they retreat to Axis, where Quattro. This is where we get the confirmation, right? So all along the way, do we have the note?
I have the note. Like, talk about Quattro going to thing. I'll have the note after.
Yeah. So basically, Char meets Haman. So remember how in Char's Illicit Affair, Haman was in love with Char and blah blah blah. But now they meet each other again, right? She's still bitter. She's basically like her entire life is based on the fact that she's been betrayed by Char. Is that a pregnancy test?
I just realized that we got there.
Oh my god, why did you do that?
So that's fake, but still. So Char meets Haman, and basically he realizes that there's still a Zabi alive. Char's no, that's it. No, jeez. So basically, Minerva Zabi, who's the daughter of Dozo Zabi, is still alive. What that means is that there's still a remaining Zabi alive, and Char's entire goal was to eliminate the Zabis from the surface of the galaxy, I guess. So what happens in this is very important, right? Because obviously Haman recognized Char. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" So it's an official kind of settings, right? It's like a royal red carpet, and what happens next is very, very shocking. Is that Char kneels, and it's a full world setting thing where you're like, he kneels to a Zeon, and he realizes that Char is like a very complex character, and you realize that it's not hate towards all Zabis, or maybe he already got his revenge, or maybe it's something like that. It's something bigger than that, is that he accepts that the next Zabi will be better, and that there's a chance that Zeon could rebirth from the ashes of the 1 Year War.
You have to keep in mind that Minerva was just a child at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he still killed but there's no
Small
ideology and there's no indoctrination in this child.
Yeah,
because all the other Zabis are gone. She's just a child. She has a name, but she's not a Zabi. So basically, if you can read, this is like one of the is it Camille who received this letter?
No, it was Kobayashi, and I think this letter came from Kai, from like Kai Shiden.
Because he's a reporter now, freaking Kai the reporter.
He's like an investigator. I love Kai. He's grown into like such a fucking dope ass guy, but like
totally. But he's got that stupid derpy face. Sorry, I could never get like the guy, because like he looks like he's like an or something from the shadows.
But he was designed to be the dumb looking bully, right? But now that he's a reporter, he's like, they still have to keep the dumb.
He's bullying corruption. He's righteous. Right? Yeah.
They keep the character design, but evolve him into like a stand-up adult that went through a war. Right? Yeah, exactly. So sadly, he keeps his bully face for the rest of his life. And
yeah, and it's so weird. They decided to use like English as their method of communication. So he sends this letter to Hayato, which is the pilot of gun tank in the 1 Year War, and gun cannon, depending on which iteration. But it's so horribly written, it's hilarious.
All you guys really need to see really is this part.
Yeah, it's nice to see you again. How is wait, can you go up a little bit?
Yeah, here we go.
How did you know how many years passed since I saw you last? How's your wife, Frau Bo, and kids?
I like how that's also like in caps.
Yeah. They should be happy with you. I wish I were you. Captain Quattro, he is a Char. He should be becoming the leader, is satisfied with being mere soldier. I don't like his attitude of escaping from reality. Why? he did the dash hyphen thing. Could have just written escaping. You could have
skipped it like right to the next
cursive.
But this is like the way in which I think like they're trying to kind of explain what Char's kind of like state is at currently, right? Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
but
know.
that's it. Basically, like we learn, and there was a lot of stuff along the way where you're like, okay, we all knew he was Char, right? But it wasn't really official for all the crew members and everything.
Until
I think they knew. Everybody knew. They're like, we
pretty
know
sure
he's
they
Char.
knew.
they were
Sure.
like, maybe he is, but we don't know.
Yeah,
But it's when Amuro like saw him.
yeah,
He was
exactly.
like, I smell this motherfucker, and he's like, Char. and then he's like, Amuro. Like, I don't know what he does. Yeah. Yeah, right. We also see Amuro, which is something I guess we like kind of forgot to talk about. But everybody from the white base mostly make an appearance in the new installment here. And Amuro is under house arrest during this time. He's a millionaire. He lives in like a mansion on Earth and stuff like that. He's like a war hero.
Why
He's
is
not
he on
allowed
house
to go to
arrest?
war.
Is it because he's too powerful?
He's too
He knows-
dangerous.
Too dangerous.
He's too
yeah.
dangerous. If Amuro decides one day to go to Axis and like work for Xeons, they're fucked in terms of like fighting capability. Because I think during this time, Amuro's the only one who has like the nickname, right? Like the White Devil. Because of the Gundam, right? Like he killed so many people in the 1 year war. And he said even like, oh, the maids that are like in my house that cleans my mansion, I posted an ad, but the thing is, I think all of the people who showed up to the like job interview, they're all like secret like agents. Like they're all just like out there to get him, right? Like monitor him like at all times, right? Yeah. So yeah, he's under house arrest because of the fear of new types, but specifically like Amuro, because he's had experience. He has proved it. It's on his resume, you know. So yeah, they're scared of him, but eventually he does escape, and that's where he found Char, and he was like, "You fucker." But yeah, I think the dialogue between Amuro and Char are pretty interesting. It's a good lead up to Char's counterattack.
Yeah, amazing world building. Like it's crazy. And I think this is where basically Char and Amane and Quattro talk about how Char can lead Zeon into uniting the remnant of Zeon and Axis into the previous.
Everyone knows he's the golden child. Like
exactly.
He is Casval Daikun, right? Like this, he can lead the Zeons. He can lead it against Titans, right? And he doesn't take it, which is I mean, like, it's not predictable, but it's definitely like if you're a guy who knows that you're supposed to lead, but well, like we talked about I think before too, like he's fully consumed by vengeance until he got his revenge, right? He kills Cassilia, he takes out the entire Zabi family like he said he would ever since he was a kid, and now he has no meaning, right? There's nothing left for him to kind of do.
He
has to do some soul searching, right?
Yes.
To find new meaning in his life.
And it does feel like that in Zeta
and war is comfortable for Char, right? And I think that's why he takes it, right? He's been in conflict all his life. So being a lieutenant is his like A game. So I think he's just doing something comfortable and think about like, what should I do, right? Yeah.
It also, I think, just to expand on what Hauf is mentioning, is that this is basically an interesting point on how soldiers come back from war or conflict, right? They can never shake off that war. They can't come back to what the civilian life, if you will.
Yeah.
As it is, it's just civilian life becomes too hard for them. Whereas when they're so used to being in that conflict zone all the time.
Exactly.
His whole life, he's been like that. Yeah. So I don't know, if I was Char, I mean, it wouldn't be a big surprise if I said I don't want to take up that mantle, right? Like,
there's also a missing link between Char's counterattack and
let's talk about soldiers a bit.
Jared. Like, okay, so one thing we were trying to define the characters in a faction and everything, and we're like, okay, so who is Jared and what's his role? And we're defining that Jared's only role is to be a trope, right? He's the asshole who triggers event. He's an initiator of events.
He's a dummy in the case that he doesn't know what he did wrong and why Camille hates him so much. But because Camille hates him so much, he's like, fuck you, dude. You're just a shithead kid Like, fuck you, right? Like, I would totally get why Jared's angry at Camille, right? Because it's just like some random kid that I never. I just said he looked like a girl. Like, what the fuck is your problem, dude? Like, holy shit.
Goes out
Right?
to kill his girlfriends, you know?
Yeah.
But he's basically doing his job, right? He's a soldier who's just like
he is a loyal soldier.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
doing his job, and he's got a lot to prove because he is the newest Titan member, right?
yeah.
During that time, so.
But in
I
the
mean,
story, he's basically
Used to like try to fight Camille. I counted at least 5 or 6 by the time
He fist fights Camille like multiple times in the show.
Yeah, fist fight, freaking mobile.
They roll
suit.
down a hill together, like how Amuro and Char does it in Char's counterattack.
They dropped to earth in a
dirty,
parachute. Like he went
Jesus
like Moby Dick on freaking. He went Captain Ahab on
yeah.
Moby
But keep in mind, you're
Yeah.
you're like a newest recruit of the strongest force in the Earth Federation, and you're being schooled time after time by a young kid, and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck.
I like that comment. His role is just to introduce kits to sell. that's pretty good.
Very,
That's
very
that.
young.
Is a
My
moody
first-
son.
My first
Yeah.
master grade was actually the Hyzak, and Jared
Mhm.
was the pilot to that one. And my running kind of thing with my family, I was building it, and it was my first time building a master grade. It is my first ever recorded missing piece, and it was the pilot that sat in the cockpit. I was putting it together, and then pop disappears into the floor, and I've never seen Jared again. So,
I know.
so sometimes my sisters or my brother would ask, like, "Hey, did you find Jared?" And then sometimes they would go to like, if they see a little pilot or something, is this Jared? So the search by Jared was ongoing. But yeah, like he piloted a lot of suits. The Gabaldi, Marasai,
Kept jumping in like
like whatever he could
Mhm.
get his hands on. He goes and tries to fight Camille for the the exposure of model kits for sale. So
Did we?
Also, another reason why he's very popular is because he's not a new type.
Yeah.
And he's he's an average guy, and that's one of the other appeals for him because I know there's a small fan base for Jared. Not very popular.
I think it's ironic. I think it's an ironic fan base. You're just like, yeah.
Quite possibly, yeah.
it's like the normal pilot, ace pilot. I've seen it somewhere where they're like, they're the Jared fanatics. There's a shrine for Jared at there. I've seen this before. I know it exists.
Oh, Jared is a new type. Jared is a new type.
Really? Oh,
Really?
He is a new
He
type.
was. I thought he wasn't a new type.
He's a new type. He's a new type. Yeah.
Can someone
He is a
fact
new
check?
type, but
Oh.
like no, I
Or was that
I-
retcon?
he is new type. Yeah.
is it official in Zeta,
I
or is
think-
that introduced later?
I think so. I'm pretty sure he's a new
Okay,
type.
cool.
But it doesn't matter whether he is or not. He plays as a opposition for Camille.
Yeah, exactly. That's all he is, right? He's
That's
in a
what's
position.
fun.
He's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah, but like it's fun because I think the reason why he's so popular is just because he's just a regular like jabron.
Yeah.
You know.
No, look how freaking beautiful this man is, man. I'd date him.
Yeah, but he gets punched by like a 16-year-old kid.
Who
in the
doesn't want to
face.
get punched for the first time in the face?
But it's also funny because Jared's like super tall. He's like 195
Yeah.
centimeters.
but he's also skinny though. Like Camille has
Yeah.
been doing karate, so he probably has some muscle.
You know what I was thinking? I think maybe they put into the account that like if you live in space and you might grow
like-
a little bit taller than
Yeah,
than,
it was like
Yeah.
artificial gravity. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's possible. That's why he's so tall and like lengthy.
So,
Yeah.
at this point in history, have we talked about grips?
Not yet. But
Not yet.
what do you think about
This is the one
dating?
We're leading up to Grid.
Okay,
a lot of
great.
I want to say Andrew's joining us on the chat. He just made a comment here. I thought that he became a new type towards the end, but isn't formally identified as one. So yes, on that one. Thanks for the fact check on that. But like, I don't know. He's an ace pilot. Yes, new type. Sure.
Doesn't matter.
So-
he's just
Yeah.
At this point, what
But he had-
leads
He had lots
to
of play. He had lots of girlfriends, which led to the meme, the wonderful meme.
So what leads to Paptinus? Like what leads to the end there? Like we see like where Char meets Haman, and basically now they're heading towards. They're still hunting down for the laser, right?
Yeah, they're still hunting now for the laser. Camille is entering his. Yeah.
I was waiting for
the laser. Well, he wants to hold Earth hostage to gain control of the entire Earth sphere,
Yeah.
and Camille is systematically killing off Jared's girlfriends.
Oh.
So at least, yeah, dear diary, today I killed one of Jared's girlfriends again.
Oh
today.
yes.
During this time, and finally it leads up to the Grips conflict, right? So they found where the laser colony is, and it's basically an all-out fight to gain control of it, and it was like a three-way battle.
Yeah.
Shar refused the leadership from Haman, because but I think try to recruit them to the fight as well because they were outnumbered, right? And then it was a three-way battle. Shar in the Hyakushiki versus Haman. And Camille versus Shiroko, right? After Jared kicked it, I think, right? I can't remember how he kicked it.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? Yeah. And then basically
Just call
what
it
ended up happening was
alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
So basically, Shiroko comes in with his massive new whip, the O.
the O.
The O. That is a
that
thing
guy's
is
figure is his
beautiful.
whole face.
Yeah.
that's his O face.
Oh yeah, that's major spoilers.
Yeah.
Watermelon, just like a watermelon, like circus balloon, just like hit him, dude. It was crazy. You should have seen it, man. But
have you guys seen the English version of it? I saw the English dub version of the final.
I have
battle.
not. I watched the original
never will.
Japanese
Sorry.
dubbing.
It's
Wow.
it's an interesting watch because like
It's really
I
intense. I'm sure about English.
so English, and the way
Yeah.
Camille blabbered on afterwards was just like, ooh, put it back to Japanese, please. Okay, let's see, where are we now? So is that let's towards the end of Zeta. Obviously, lots of people got killed along the way. New type, again, a very big staple of the series for Gundam. Here in the final scenes, again, it's like the whole aura explanation of like where they got their OP power. Not explanation, but like they what do you call it? Put them like not a metaphor, but like when 4 and that other 2 ladies showed up as ghost figures.
Too late. You mean all 4 of the
All four of
that
his,
have already died?
Yeah.
A revenge against Shiroko, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But that's the thing.
Yes.
And at this
But
point,
yeah.
Camille like basically is faced with like new type overwhelming power.
Oh yeah.
Right? And
Yeah, he's very in touch with the more like metaphysical side of the new type powers. I would argue even more so than Amuro and Char. Definitely more than Char. Char's like fucking.
Okay, the ultimate
Yeah.
new type is obviously fuck, I forgot his name. Right. Judo, Judo Eshta. Yeah.
Judo is king. I think Judo is
he's
king.
the ultimate. He has power
Judo
control
is
over
king.
it. He's not even like, I don't think he knows he's a new type. For him, it's just like, shut the fuck up. I do what I want. And like,
Actually,
he slaps back and like.
I'm sorry to pull the actually meme on you guys.
Yes, go on. I love
Most
actually.
powerful new type in UC is actually what's her name? Lakshi? Or the girl from Victory Gundam.
Starting some.
She was the one that can pull everybody like she can brainwash people to that effect.
Nice.
And then the second one would probably be either Judo or Uso. But
Uso?
then that would be it.
I don't
Uso
know. About
Edwin, the mass murderer of the UC timeline is Uso Edwin. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
but mass
except for the
murder
Great
doesn't
White
make
Lady.
you a strong
Yeah.
new type.
Well,
I think new types is
that part is
just
debatable.
it's the idea of like this over. I mean, like honestly, this is stupid. It's like comparing like, oh, who's stronger, Obi-Wan or Anakin? Like this is fucking dumb. This is a waste of my time. But it's the new type stuff is pretty cool in Zeta and more like even in Double Zeta, which will I guess
They
we'll talk about
expanded
later.
it
but-
very, very well, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
All right.
Again,
so
guys, you guys have not seen Zeta recommended. There's a lot of characters, mobile suits, mini stories within the stories that obviously we won't have time to capture tonight fully.
And it's an amazing world building experience, right? Because it develops like it sets the ground for all the future UC.
I think this is the best world building UC installment because it opens up like it's kind of like a first intermission before, like in a theater play, right? Like you have the 1 year war, but the thing is like this really opened the can of worms about like the possibilities and the possible reconciliation, and then like a build up to Char's counterattack as well, right?
And too.
Yeah, like I mean, as much as I dislike and have a distaste for Unicorn, you know, like even the roots of this show, you know, it blossomed in Unicorn, right? Specifically with the Zabi faction and everything.
What also started was the fanatic fandom that would follow Gundam UC after this show, to the point where Tomino would hate his own fandom. Right?
Yeah.
He would eventually come to hate it, and that's why I said, you know, in the beginning, like, you know, with the Gundam movies, like he's so happy. I was like, little do you know what you're really building.
Yeah.
Also, as Andrew mentioned here too, that like it had the most kind of like weekly introduction.
So I was actually gonna respond to that. He says that it's like to sell toys and stuff. It is true, obviously. I mean, like most of the stuff we consume are just to sell us stuff, right? But I think the reason why there's so many overwhelming amount of designs is also the change in production, right? So I guess we talk about production now, Ariel?
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay, so right after Gundam, what happened was we know that in the original show, there was the character designer, the guy who did the Origin manga. I forgot his name. It's like but he did the character designs for Zeta Gundam, and then Kunio Okawara did the original.
Yasuhiko.
Yeah, Yasuhiko. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yasuhiko did the Origin manga. He did the character designs for Gundam and the original Gundam and Zeta Gundam, and then in Zeta Gundam, what happened was Kunio Okawara had like an involvement, but the thing is, like, Tomino really wanted to create like a new Gundam. You know, he's a kind of like an artist mind, right? Like, I don't want to do the same thing as I did in the original Gundam. I have to hire new fresh blood and stuff like that. So one of the people, and the most prominent one in my opinion, is definitely Mamoru Nagano.
He's the legendary.
I mean, Nagano is legendary, and then we also had help from Fujita, and Fujita is best known for his design of the Zeta, but I think we'll talk about Nagano first, because I think his bad blood in this history started from the production of Zeta. So
he had a good time with Tomino, right? He had a good time with Tomino.
Yeah, Tomino and like, yeah, he did Elgheim. If you guys haven't seen Elgheim, go watch it. It's pretty good. It's really ambitious too. Very different show, right? Like you see Elgheim, and I'm pretty sure Tomino probably saw Elgheim, was like, okay, I need this kind of talent on my new show, new design. I need fresh blood, right? So he created the Gabaldi and the Rick Diaz, like Nagano, like first. So he submitted the report to Tomino, and Tomino kind of likes it. But everyone else in the show, if you really think about it, now we see Rick Diaz and we see Gabaldi, we see all these Zeta suits as like some of the most popular and iconic designs in the Gundam canon franchise, right? But back then, there was no Zeta Gundam. It was just the original show. So comparing the original show to his Mamoru Nagano's like new, like crazy designs, he was heavily criticized. Yeah. People really didn't like him. He was too...
one of the designs, Half?
This is, I believe, a refined version of the Mark II Gundam, right?
Design. Yeah, there was the original.
Yeah, like everybody had their own pitch, right? Like, okay, yeah, I think before going into the production thing, everybody had their own pitch of what they thought each suit, like main suit, should look like. So because the project got too like haywire, like too into the wild direction, they got Kunio Okawara back to like normalize things a little bit. And Kunio Okuwara was happy to do it because he really loved Gundam. So he designed the Ashamar, and he also designed the Mark II. And then I think he designed one more thing. I can't remember. But
Really?
yeah, but like, no. I'm talking about Okuwara.
Oh, Okawara, yeah.
Yeah, he designed the Mark II, he designed the Ashamar, and I think he designed one more thing. But the thing about like Okawara is that he kind of like stabilized most of it. So this is the example, right? Like what you're showing here, Ariel.
He toned it
This
down
is-
to like a industry level, and also a great segue from 0079 to Zeta. Because it's like basically Nagano is like so extreme, ahead of his time. He's like he's making amazing design from like 2030, right? From the future. It's our future is not even yet to this type of design. He's doing this in like
this is some like Renaissance level type shit in the anime industry. But this specific photo, I think, is probably just like a refined version that he made, obviously way later on.
Yeah.
But the intention was there. The idea that this Gundam was supposed to be this kind of like extravagant, right? But
And then that's what you end up with in this show.
that's what you end up with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like guys, let's take a look at this. Like amazing big shot. You're looking at definitely something similar to the feel of like 5-star Elgheim, like the natural looking, not natural, but like organic-y looking armor.
Well, the thing is to understand Nagano is he grew up in a family where they made kimono cloths, and he grew up around clothing and cloths a lot.
Yeah, and he grew up in a small
was
town too. So like his childhood was always kind of like just whatever family's doing, whatever my neighbors are doing, I'm doing. That's what he said.
Yeah,
in an interview.
And so you look at it, he kind of pioneered the robots in high heels. Very like if you look at his designs in his art book, they're drawn to like fashion proportions, right? And fashion styles. And you have and basically he always thought of the armor as clothing for the robots. So then
it's a knight. It's a knight in armor. It's a knight
that's why
in armor.
you always see a texture in his armor, which is amazing, right?
Yeah, Yeah, so if you guys don't know, Mamoru Nagano later on makes 5-star Story, and that's like one of them, probably the most extravagant looking mechas, even till this day, right?
It looks cool.
I was gonna say, like, can you imagine like the poor like Gundam Zeta animator?
Yeah, making something.
Nagano will be like, yeah, dude, I'm not drawing this shit for like 200 frames, man. You gotta tone it down.
Yeah, you gotta tone it down. Yeah.
So we got the toned down version of the Mark II, guys. Everyone has seen.
So yeah, this is Okawara's rendition, right? Kind of like, oh, I like your elements, Nagano, but yo, chill a little bit. And Okawara is very like grounded, and he has a lot of experience at this point because like Nagano is technically like a
he's a maverick.
He's a senpai. Is that what it's called? Like a little disciple character, right? But Nagano's generation reshaped the entire like anime industry because it was the 80s, right? Like 80s was considered the golden age of anime. So a lot of like otakus during this time, like Hideaki Anno, the guy who created Evangelion, Nagano, was involved. Basically, they were all part of like university clubs that were really into creating doujins for like Ideon, for Gundam, even for Vifram and stuff like that. So all these guys kind of know each other.
Are you using the word doujin in terms of fan art or in terms of
fan
like,
content, not your smut garbage, you fucking degenerate fuck.
No,
Went inside that.
The real translation of doujin is fan art. So
fan art, fan created content, okay, I should have prefaced that, you fucking nerds. But yeah, like that's basically what happened, and they just kind of all know each other, and then they just reshaped it together. So like the most iconic stuff definitely came out around this time. Time period.
Let's talk about the original design for the Zeta itself. This one here was one of the images that we pulled in to talk about because what we got on the show, again, from what you guys saw in the Mark II already, totally different from the original design. And this one right here, again, something that might be new to you guys, but apparently, this is something that it could have been as the main Zeta design, right?
Yeah,
hate it.
so
This was done by Fujita.
this is done by Fujita, and the guy who created the Zeta in the actual TV show for Gundam Zeta was actually Fujita as well. This is just his line art and proportion interpretation of Zeta, right? You know how we have two types of design in the industry, right? One is the one that you're going to sell your toys looking like and model kits looking like, and two, theoretically the real design, the artist rendition, where there is no like things that are stopping you, from creating the real creation.
For those of you guys want to compare apples.
So this is why hobbyists and model kit makers make Gundam models if they really like a design. They make this interpretation. They don't just like make like a, I don't know, out of the box like Zeta, right? But this is heavily stylized, right? You can't sell this. Nowadays, I don't think, unless you're like Naoki or something. But
the niche market will have that niche group and that niche. That will be the target audience for.
Yeah. Fujita was in charge of like basically everybody was making Zeta Gundam, but his won out, right? But like even Nagano had his own interpretation of his own Zeta, and they I think they were all transformable. I think that's the thing they were talking about. Derick was saying like, it has to compete with Macross, right? Something that it can transform into. And we
got like awesome product that can compete with Macross. I think the transformation sequence of the Zeta was, I've said it before a whole bunch of times, one of my favorite Gundam's mobile suit design, Zeta. I'm talking about the TV show version, just because I built the 1.0, the 2.0, high grade, and this guy right here. I haven't even opened it. I just want to actually, can I take the screen? Somebody give me the screen. Hey, give me the screen. This right here. Guys,
hey, that's nice.
It's some OG stuff. Okay, this is from my backlog. We should do a backlog builder episode of this, but I'm so scared to open it. This is originally, if I could find a date on this, it is, I want to say 80s. Oh, where is it? It's an old. Here we go. Can we get some right? Where's my finger? Somewhere.
Slightly low res, but slightly to the right. Yeah.
There. How about now?
I could barely see it. I'll just trust it. It's definitely from the 80s.
1985.
From the 80s. 85. Yeah, that's when the show came out. Yeah.
First printing. This is not one of those new prints, 1980s. This is a first printing of the kit, and I'm just gonna show you guys like.
Not one of those fake fans that.
No. Dude, forget that, man. Like I popped open a 1980 something kit, and man, like this is the kind of stuff you get in it. Like there's like cool design. That's what the model kit looks like. I mean, it's still similar to what you see today.
I always felt like the Zeta was elongated, right? It just felt like a normal Gundam that is stretched. And I just never liked that kind of design. So I like what you're saying, and I'll let you finish. But have you seen the Revive Yakushiki?
Revive? Hang on. John, I have that built right here, man.
That is the kit. That is the kit to own. Oh, Yakushiki. I feel like the gold is slightly obnoxious, but
all right, this is what John is referring to. I built the Revive version.
So that suit is slim and nice, right? Maybe we can go to the original design of the Yakushiki.
Yeah. The original Yakushiki did not look like that at all.
It was there. It is. Yeah. Zoom that in.
There it is. Zoom into that.
So we have multiple suits here. Like we got the Hyakushiki, we got the Rick Diaz, which is on the bottom, the green one.
Hyakushiki is the white one, not gold.
Yeah, the white one.
And this is Nagano, right?
Yes, this is Nagano. This is Nagano's art. Yeah.
One thing to note on this one, when he brought out this Yakushiki, it was immediately rejected, and they were like, "No, it looks too close to the Gundam. Change it." So it went through heavy processing, to become the Yakushiki that it is now.
Yeah, but like, look at the Rick Diaz, the green one.
Yeah,
I want this kit. Like, this is dope. Look at like the head, the fin, the freaking mono lens. They have cameras on the sides, thrusters.
Yeah, I think this is what you call like lost anime, like like details. Like Nagano's method of creating panel lines, visual interest, are so different from what you see now from like a lot of hobby builders, right? Where they just put like panel lines and segregate them into like different armor pieces, right? Nagano puts up like an extra step, engravings, right? Little
putting
weird
texture,
chisel
it's
areas.
yeah, exactly.
It's
all
very
organic.
interesting to look at. Yeah.
Making this
It is-
in a model, like you can't
Mhm.
really do it unless you're sculpting everything, right? Because it's not a
Specific, probably a really specific chisel tool, but there's no market for this kind of thing, right? Like, what are you going to advertise it as? Nagano sculpting like starter
Yeah.
kit? Like no one
Nagano.
no one even knows who the fuck Nagano is, right? Like it's
Doesn't matter. No one Verkatoki was until RX-78.
no, that's
popped
it.
into this
Verka is
thing.
Verka because of Ka.
Mhm.
Katoki is because of Verka.
Yeah.
So if you do like a ver Nagano, I'd be like, damn right, baby.
Also,
Yeah,
just want to
but Bandai won't let that happen because Bandai
Yeah.
and Nagano are on very bad
Exactly.
terms.
Exactly.
Nagano
I think
hates
they still
Bandai.
are in
Yeah.
bad terms. It's specifically with like Sunrise, and I guess by extension Bandai, right? I'm not sure if are we gonna talk a little bit about their beef?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll just sum it up very quickly.
before
So
you
he
do
gets-
that, I just want to say
yes.
first that hamburger that's flying over here. I want that. I would
Yeah.
build. I love that. Did I say hamburger? Hambrari.
Hambrabi.
Robbie.
Hamrabi.
Never get that right. So the flying hamburger is amazing. Design here, probably my favorite.
I like the red more than the blue, honestly. Like if I'm being honest, I think.
Aggressive, I think. In the blue.
All right, go on. Sorry, Hayden.
No worries. So Nagano was told, okay, first he was radical. He was very much criticized for his work because they were too crazy. These designs did not belong in like a Gundam show. That's what the exec said. That's what even like people in his actual team said. Right? He was not very like much liked, and at the same time, Nagano has this ego, right? Like, I know what I'm making is good. You guys just lack taste, right? So
that's the thing. It's undeniable. It's like, let's say you compare this to an original design, and let's say like the original HG, right? You look at them and you're like, oh, not even the HG. I'm talking about like the original, like 1-to-100, like the classic seam line filled kits. It's incomparable. You cannot say like, oh no, this is. You lack talent. I'm sure they didn't go in like you lack talent.
I don't think Japanese workplaces like that, but the sentiments were there, right?
They probably went in a way where they're like, "This is not fit for us. This is amazing work, just not fit for us."
It's not esque enough.
And also there was a Cubelay incident too, right? Where he creates this very, very beautiful Cubelay design.
Right here, can we put that on screen? There we go. We have it there.
There it is.
Okay, this is the original Cubelay, right?
Look
like a refined version of his initial designs. Obviously, he didn't draw these like when he made Zeta, right?
Right here, her hamburger, right there.
But you can obviously I mean, if you've been in the Gunpla universe in the past like 5 years, you could notice that this resembles a lot of the
Cubelay Damned.
Cubelay Damned that was released by Bandai recently, and it has massive influence from this kit, and is actually produced by Naoki, which is a great designer of our time. But there was a lot of influence by it, and they produced the kit knowing that there's influence from Nagano, because Nagano would not. I mean, you can go on about it, but I think Nagano would not release his design.
Nagano would not give this design to Bandai ever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just about what happened, and you know, asking like myself personally, I think it's straight up plagiarism. Like, I think Nagano can sue, but I don't think they're into that kind of culture. But Nagano, what happened was like obviously his designs were rejected, but he created a lot of designs for the suits for Zeta, and they were heavily approved afterwards, right? Because Tomino kept like going like, hey, fuck off, like let him make his shit, right? And then what happened was in Double Zeta, this is really weird. So Nagano talks about a specific guy or maybe a group of people in like the Sunrise executive positions that specifically is out there gunning for him. When Double Zeta was being created, Tomino was approached, and so was Nagano. There was a meeting. It was just the three of them. There was an exec that really liked Nagano's work, and he said, "Can you and Tomino make Double Zeta, because I love your work," right? So he goes, he makes the drawings, he does all the things, and they asked him like, "So executive man, how much are we like making this for? Like, am I making designs and stuff like that, or story?" And then the guy was like, "You're making everything." So in terms of all signs of production, he put his heart and soul into like, making Double Zeta, like prepping Double Zeta at least with Tomino, right? And then what happens? It gets canned. He gets canned, right? And that would drive anyone fucking insane, right? Like you put your heart and soul into something, and then it just doesn't work out. But maybe it could just be this, industry, right?
Just mind you, at this time, Nagano is also a huge Gundam fan, right? He is a huge Gundam fan at this point, and of course, being asked to do these things is like, I want to, right? But sorry, go ahead, and getting canned,
So what happened afterwards was, this is the last straw. So if you guys know the new Gundam and Sazabi, they're both created by Izubuchi, a very competent designer, very good. He's actually one of my favorite designers as well. He did some Kamen Rider stuff as well. But
competent, highly competent. No, competent. Modest,
sorry, I meant that in the most respectful way as I can.
But good.
What happened was like he, when they were gonna do Shard's counterattack, Tomino approached Nagano, was like, "I know things didn't work out in Double Zeta, but can you work in Shard's counterattack for me?" And he's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, please help me." And as he's making Shard's counterattack, he gets fucking canned again by some random fuck in the fucking like Sunrise department. Like there are people out there to gun him down, right? And he doesn't know why till this day. I'm not sure, but I should probably get Ariel to link you the Forbes article. There's an extensive interview about this situation.
We should have like I think artists. I think a future episode would be dedicated to just artists, designers, because like it is very interesting to kind of like get into the mindset of how they created their approach, their history. I'm not talking about personal history, like they got kids or whatever. I'm talking about their history, impact on our history, culture, design, etc. The development of said mecha culture, right? It's like a lot of these designers are very unsung, unless you really read up to them. A lot of people just get the final product. So like what we're looking at here right now, we saw the design, an amazing design.
But as
right?
The thing is, it's fucked up because in the retrospect, like probably the guy who was canning him, like he's just like, he's gonna be forgotten and gone. Like it's tomorrow's news by tomorrow. But then his designs, like they stuck. With time. That's it.
Nagano has even gone on record as saying, it's actually all from the same article. He said that people might not know me, like Nagano. People might not know a 5-star story, but as they were children, they probably watched a show, and that show probably had some design philosophies that stretches back to me. So it's like a influence on your like preconceived notion of what a mech and their proportions and their design and their elegance is supposed to be. That's all Nagano's designs that are hitting the people that you find inspiring, right?
Exactly.
So it goes through like generations and generations of like influence, right? So that's why Nagano says like, I've done my work, and I'm happy about that. But that he definitely doesn't get the recognition that
you were also going about like the fact that he inspired the younger generation that are creating new mech that are like massively popular. And when Nagano's creating his own stuff, he's looking at what's out there, and he's looking at these mechs. It's like, oh, these are really cool. Let me inspire from them. So it's basically a circle of inspiration where he's like, he's so omnipresent in all the mech designs that
That's right.
you
Yeah,
cannot
omnipresent
find
is the right
anything
word.
more original than what he's been doing, because everything has been. He's the root of all great mecha design. So
Yeah, like a lot of like more elegant, design. And
Well-
somebody on Twitch posted an article, says this article, Mamoru Nagano on L-Gaim, Gundam, and the Fractal Nature. Yep, that's the one. Yeah. It's a great read. So if you guys like have time, that article is a really great read.
Just to add on for Nagano, he also was like able to push back, which was also like a good thing. And the case in point was with the Qubeley story, right? Back then, the thing you have to remember, like when Bandai was creating these molds for these kits, right? They would kind of test it out with the B Club first and how they would make it. And one of the biggest the resin department would be the pioneer to make their stuff. And they usually have problems with round stuff, so they kept most of the designs like not too round and whatnot. But when the Qubeley came out, they were like, "Fuck, please, for the love of us, for the life of us, change it."
That here, this is Qubeley.
So this is the MG Qubeley, but if you look at the original Qubeley that was created, it was a little bit boxier because they had to chisel that curvature. but they couldn't get it right for the for the proportions. So Nagano kind of refused to give up on those curves.
Yeah, I think that
was the design that he stuck with, and it was a great thing that he did, because this is again a testament to Nagano's design. Is like this is like the next like the Hakushiki Qubeley Mark II. Those are like the most popular even till this day. Like
this is Hamon's suit. Like this is an extension of her being. You know what I mean? Like that's how
the main character of
how recognizable this is.
Exactly.
And it's so feminine too. It's beautiful.
This like I think later Gundam shows would try to would of course have this in some form of replication, right? I know it came up again in Gundam X.
Thank you.
And a couple others, right?
Like if you look at the legs, right, where the ankle is, that flowiness armor, it sort of it makes its way into the Sazabi.
Yes.
Yes. Armor goes, and and just that is so unique from just a design perspective than anything else that came before it. Like imagine Zeon before this was what, like with the Zaku's, was the Gelgoog, you had the Zeong.
Almost the same kind of like style. Yeah, to your point, the Zaku, the Goof, the Doms, they're all like grunty, like troll looking.
Like Okawara-esque, whereas this it just stands out so much that like it's and what I like about this is like a duality between the Qubeley's color scheme and Haman, where Haman is mostly dressed in like dark blue, dark like black clothing. This is more like white, so there's the black and white duality there, which is I find interesting. Maybe there's a connection there, but yeah.
I think we have a picture of the original Qubeley, right?
Yeah, I got this from one of our viewers. Shout outs to Yoshi6400.
Hey, Yoshi, thank you. Send your share screen, Half, and I'll put it up.
Okay.
Also, Nagano allowed it so that the high heels were accepted in designs for future designs, right? That, of course, was from his fashionist, artistic.
You guys can keep talking.
Well, other design that we have is also Psycho Gundam, I think, is a very prominent one that it basically keeps the same design. They went on into, like the, I'm going to say the 90s style later on with the Psycho Gundam Mark II, which is like extra guns everywhere, like everything's shooting, right? And it's one of the design that they had that's very like important. I don't think there was a lot of influence from the Mark II, from the Psycho Gundam into, like it was just a Gundam, right? A square boxy Gundam that could transform. So,
was.
Another prominent design, the O, right? We forgot about talk about the O. Like it's a
Yeah.
that was a lot of influence. I think that was one of the do you have it?
No,
That was designed.
okay.
The O was designed by Kobayashi.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell, right? Like it's a very big round suit, and it has like, even though it is a space suit, you can tell that it has a lot of like ground unit feel to it. Like it was a influence, like very, I'd say Nazi Germany like feel of like a bigger tank. Basically,
Yeah, the subarm armor from the O.
yeah,
I had
exactly.
with me, and I also have. There's also the left wing for some reason.
I have the O up there, John. If you want.
Yeah, no, that's it. So basically, that's it. Like the big feet establish like a more grounded unit, even though it's a big suit. It has influence like the Sazabi, like the what is it, the Garadoga as well, right? Like it has the feel of a good like German influence that is
Bulkiness.
Bulky, clunky.
It is one of the,
All about the thick boys.
oh god.
What the
That's
original
the original kit.
Jubilee kit?
Yeah.
I could barely see it. It's all white and pearl, and
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that is the classic kits, right? The classic kits is big seam lines, one color. So it's made like it's made for builders, like true builders. So
You have to. Yeah.
you have to fix it like
Look-
entirely.
Look at the upper arms and the shoulders, right? And the upper legs. You see how they're more boxier?
Yeah.
They don't
Right?
extend as
They,
far.
they couldn't get the curves right, and they were chiseling like crazy. It basically put the mold masters to its limits
Yeah.
to make this mold, from what I heard.
food too, right? You got to get
Yeah.
that curvatures here and all
Yeah.
that.
Because
Wow.
it wasn't just only round in one area, but it's like round in all these other areas. So it was like, they were like, holy crap, how do we do this, right? But that's still like, but everybody loves that kit. It's so iconic, right? And they even bought it back for his Double Zeta, I think, right?
Yeah, Jubilee Mark II, Mark III with Peru.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit, John, earlier. You were talking about like the O and how it's kind of like German influence, right?
Yeah.
So what I find so interesting is that during the 80s, a lot of like the otakus and the people who like, the trend back then was like it's called like German fetishism, like German like World War II fetishism, where a lot of the designers were heavily inspired by like the Nazi uniforms, the tanks, the planes that Germans built.
But I think
the
even
insignia.
today, military
Yeah.
modelers, they view Germany as like the research and development, like
And it's like, yeah, it
military.
spreads into like mecha, because like Nagano was really into tanks as a kid too, and so did like Kunio Okawara. Like Kunio Okawara, the guy who created, who designed the original Gundam and did the Mark II. He says like he grew up in Okinawa, which is like a place filled with like American like military, right?
Yeah.
So growing into that sense, like a lot of the trends were like that. And Hideaki Anno even like like what you guys seen Shin Godzilla? Like Shin Godzilla has like the Japanese Defense Forces and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
A lot of like fetishism for like military might and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice. So I think this is a good time to segue. We were talking about different kits and all that stuff. So before the show, guys, we kind of asked each one to kind of like find their top three. No, we went from top 5 to top 3 mobile suits designed from Zeta with a little bit of a twist. We cannot select any of the main considered Team A main mobile suits, and we all of us went out to go find our top 3 favorites from that. So are you guys ready to do a little roundtable and kind of share a little bit of like your favorite mobile suit from the show?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
I was really hesitant at first because it's kind of hard. I find like a lot of these suits are like C tier. So like selecting the best of the C tier is really hard. It's not like an easy like thing to do. Oh, am I going first? Okay, I'm going first.
Oh yeah, I think that's the perfect
Centerfold,
segue.
I guess. Okay,
Share your, guys, have your share screen available, and I'll start putting them up.
Share screen. All right.
I see you.
So, suit number 1, the DJ. So, I'm gonna say the DJ is really fun in terms of design, simply because it has like a classic Xeon feel to it, right? But it's like an evolved version of it. Like it's like an evolved Galbadi and an evolved Zaku into like a nice suit. One of the things that sold me the most was you can't even see it in the picture, which is sad. But like over here, you can tell like there's the circular vent is absolutely amazing. It's one of the main feature of it, and I think that's what sold me. Another thing is that this suit comes in the Amuro version. It's an orange and white version. Absolutely stunning. It's on. I think there's 2 versions. There's like the Amuro new colors, and there's the Amuro orange colors from Moon Gundam. Amazing, beautiful, beautiful. So that is my number 3.
Oh, we're going backwards. I totally. I'm not going to go in the order in mine. Just sure, top 3.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'm not going with any order. I'm just saying the top 3. They're all going to be equal. I'm just.
So, like I said, like in the extra suit, what I'm going to call it, this section where we're like it's not super important, but like they're like the interesting design that are non-main suit. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
In B type, I have the Masala. So what the good thing about Masala is that I never had a real interest into it until my friend built the kit, and I just saw it in front of me, and it's like this is the most elegant, like weird design concept I've ever seen. Right? Just how like you can tell how the legs is there and like upwards, and there's actually no torso. It's like a head to the hips, and I think it's like beautifully executed, and I think it's worth all the points in my heart for a 2nd place. Now, obviously, 3rd place. Now, 3rd place, I'm gonna call it a cheater because I do consider it like a main suit, but like it's also like just a grunt suit. Oh, sorry, guys. So, Psycho Gundam.
Is that Simon Lamb's?
Is it? Did I?
It looks like something Simon Lamb would put.
No. I think his is very well weathered. Like it's very more
weather.
No, that's not Simon's work.
No, not at all. Not at all. But
Simon's is in a desert like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay. I should have taken his pictures then. Right. So yeah, that design I find like it's. I'm gonna say the anime is like not as well done. It's very boxy and not as good as like the potential it can be in a model kit. But yeah, just the fact that it's bigger, larger, and I think the color combination like works for me. Like it's not like it's like a light gray, I can say, like orange and red. I think it works like beautifully. Yeah. So my top 3. Any critique on my choice?
Boo.
You just pull out of your ass, didn't you?
Critique. We're gonna have our own critique session. Hayden, you are up next. You have your share screen available.
Can you give me a sec? There's some technical difficulties, so I
meant Derick. You're next. That's what I.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go there.
Let's see if the share screen works. Okay, I'll do the same thing as. Can you see the screen?
I do. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. All right. So number 3 is the Ashamar, or in GUNPLA, it's lovingly known as the Ass Hammer. Right? Look at it. Right. It's ready to take you to Pound Town. It's one of the first transforming mechas I recall when I was watching this show, and I liked it. Nice, compact little burger of a kit that can, kick your ass. Right.
Is it an evolution from the Dom?
I know it has the head of the Dom, but I think there's
nothing else, right? It's just like
it was more of a like, okay, like we need this thing to transform because what was it? They had to compete. We wanted to compete with Macross, right? So the next one, second, is the Marasai, which to me, I think it's more of the successor to the Zax, and the Zax should have just said, they shouldn't have had a high Zax. They should just go to Marasai. That's it.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Just
I
because
think I think it's a great segue between the Gyaradoga and the Zaku.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
agree too. Yeah, you got the shoulder shields, the pauldron here on the right hand side, right? And then you got thrusters here for maneuverability. So I've always liked this design. And the number one design, of course, from Nagano is the yes. Like I saw this thing, I was like, whoa, they've advanced so much, kind of thing, right? And it was so cool. And I really liked it. I built one of these. The Master Grades is a wonderful build, right?
It is. I built one too. It's good. I could say it's good.
Really, really good, solid build. I built one put it in desert colors a long, long time ago. I don't know if I have pictures of it anymore. Right, but yeah, so those are my top three.
Nice. Well done.
Anything
Thank you for sharing. No, I think they're all solid choosing there. Oops. That's not right. Who's next here? Half, you good?
I'll go. I think it'll work now. Yeah.
All right. I don't see it yet.
It says screen sharing is not allowed yet. Freaking dingus. No.
Nate,
You're
you're next. What do
silencing
you got?
All right, let me share the screen. Let's see here.
sent like 3 links to Ariel so you can pop it up.
Should I do
Yeah,
that? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean either or.
So
I
weird.
could share mine.
Alrighty. Thanks. Let me do this.
Getting an error as well. Ariel, you go first.
All right. I'll go next, I guess. But fine. So, Derick, you and I are kindred spirit, my friend.
Oh god, exact same picture as well. Nice.
I'm this guy here. I have a couple of more photos. I just want to reiterate that, from a model kit perspective, this before I don't have it anymore because I sold it because I just ran out of space and whatnot. It's hard to find for me right now too, but I do have the Ashmar from the narrative series. I love the kit. I love the design, both in robot and flying donut mode. Because you don't see this often. You don't see you want to see space magic. This is space magic for me. With thrusters, support, the gear walk version of it, right? Come on, what's not to love about that? But it's not just the design; it's the development of it that I enjoyed as well.
Oh my god, yes. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, the development of that.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So to me,
the TR3.
Data, TR3, all the way to the what's it? I can't pronounce it. The Kiara.
Yeah.
Kiara TR62 or whatever. Right here is beautiful. You see it go from it was good, but wait, it could be better, right? It went to such a good iteration to this point here. Amazing. So for me, the evolution, the story of the this mobile stemming from Zeta, really good stuff. Second to that would be the Gaplant. I think we talked about this earlier on. I love the Gaplant because it's one of those bulky, angular design. I love the Starscream Sidewinder cannons. It's still mono eye, which I okay, sure, but it's also Earth Federation. You don't you get a lot of Earth Federation that are not Gundam-esque in the first Gundam, right? You have the GMs that are very, but now with the Zeta, the development and all that stuff for the show, gave it the mobile armor version that could transform the giant pack here. You don't even see this being a regular Gundam. And again, evolution.
Wait, can you see the tail? So the tail of the Gaplant is actually the booster from AOZ that they're releasing a separate kit for?
No, this was
so.
Yes and no. I don't think they're this. I don't know. Would they be the same? This kit is old.
Maybe. Yeah,
so
I don't know. Interesting. Interesting.
Oh, we gotta look at our history. But the development of this one to the TR5.
Oh.
again, Advance Zeta really took that design and made it more awesome. So seeing again the evolution of that Kaplant from where it was to the Advance Zeta, amazing story and design concept evolution. Again, Derick. The Marasai, one of my favorite. Again, Jared piloted like the drop zone for that. For me, it was this. This is what I loved about the Marasai because it had the balloon system
Oh yeah.
capable attachment, right? So I've not had a chance. I have a Marasai, but I don't have the balut system. So I'm still kind of, this is still one of the things like I have to collect.
For anyone who selected the Marasai, do you like the red version or do you like the unicorn green version better?
I like the
Orange.
unicorn version better.
I like the orange.
I like it more grunty, so I like mine kind of green. But
Cool.
I like that. I dig that orange though.
So I said red, but you guys said orange. Is it like a blue dress, golden
No,
dress?
I like
thing, or-
the. Well,
No,
it is
it's
supposed to be
orange.
orange and red, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just dig that color, that orange color.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Again,
I wish they would make a master grade of the Asimar because they have a master grade of this already of the Marasai. They don't have a master grade of the Goplant, which I would also love, and they don't have a master grade of the Asimar. And I'm like, I'm waiting for
Yeah,
that.
I'm actually
Yeah.
because of the Keyhard that just came out. I was really hoping for TR3. Like TR3, they came out in a 1 to 200 version. There's a resin recast you can find probably on, like nothing good, but you can find the resin. You might not be able to find the kit. The kit is a 1 to 200. It came from a magazine. It's like super
Right.
tiny. It's like a tiny little thing. Never made a kit, unfortunately. It's TR3. TR3 is a great kit. And now we have like the beginning, the advanced, but we don't have the middle evolution.
so
Yeah.
Remember this thing rides like a it looks like a Metal Gear. As soon
Yeah.
as this thing rides the other thing, it's from Advance of Zeta.
shout out to Sue from Montreal. He actually scratch built that giant Marasai riding
Oh,
thing.
I remember that. I saw that
The 2017.
before I even met you, Eric. I saw that at the GBWC Montreal thing, and I was like, "Oh, someone finally made it." I remember
Yeah.
having that.
But he
Yeah.
tried to make
Idea
it
a long time
a
ago.
re-entry into the atmosphere type of thing with his
Forced lighting. Yeah,
And
forced
sadly-
lighting.
I think he lost a lot of his of the color scheme into it because obviously it's a great effect that he tried to do re-entry, but he lost
Mhm.
like the blue.
Yeah, you
purple.
fucking tell him, dude. Okay.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
friend. He's a good friend, but he's
Yeah. No.
Anyways,
I
that
get
was
it.
my top three.
Mhm.
Very similar. I get to. Oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Similar to what Derick kind of has, and it's funny because like our taste, like, without saying, we have a lot of things going. Up next, I think Nate, you're on deck. Is that you? Is that you?
Yeah.
Right now?
That's me.
Oh my god, infinite loop.
Oh, Infinite Loop.
Oh,
So you see,
Oh,
now,
well,
is that fair?
for sure, some of these are going to repeat because they're such great designs. But yeah, that's my top three. The third place would actually go to the Marasai. It's very hard to me to pick which ones I like the most. But if I were to put top one in the third place spot, it would be the Marasai. Like again, like what Derick said, this is for me. It's like a natural continuation of the Zaku line. And pretty much the design itself is very Zeonic to me. So it's actually more Zeonic than Federation, So it's like what I really like about this is keeping the design aesthetics that were iconic to the Zaku, but adding so much more. Right? If you look at the helmet shape, it's got that like samurai-esque. How do you call that? Like cowling that extends all the way to the back. It's called the commander fin. Almost looks like a camphor from far away. But I just like the fact that they exaggerated a lot of the things that you see on the Zaku even more here. Especially like the shoulder horns. Instead of having that L-shaped shield, now you have that double articulated shield. I'm partial to the green version from Unicorn. Partly because I'm a big fan of like just grunt suits and grunt colors.
Grunt colors, yeah.
Yeah, so I never built the master grade. I really would love to do a custom on it. some ideas floating in my head, but I remember when the kit was first announced, I followed the reviews like religiously. It was actually a very special time in my life because it was just when I was really getting deep into GUNPLA.
Right.
And, I missed out on the initial release, but I would love to build one in the future. Number 2 is one that we haven't seen so far is the Biarlant.
Yeah.
I really like this one. Purely because of how alien it looks. It's sort of like that, and the Gaply, the insectoid-looking one, sort of encompasses that crazy 1980s like designs that you see in GUNPLA, you know, and just proportion-wise,
biomech like shape.
Yeah,
non-traditional humanoid ones. Yeah,
exactly. Like this is very what's an insect?
Yeah.
Which one? The
Gaply?
No, not from Gundam, but that other anime that featured like very insect.
Gundam.
Yeah. So this sort of had that vibe, you know, the 1980s like mecha vibe, and just love the fact that like the arms are like not where you think they would be. You know, usually your shoulder thrusters are on the outside, but here the shoulder thrusters are on the armpits. You know, it's kind of funny to think about it. When the thrusters are active, you will kind of burn the arms off.
So that's why you have to fly like a ninja with the arms out and shit.
Yeah, like Naruto run, you know. Yeah. So, just a really great design for me overall. Special mention the Biarlant custom that we see in Unicorn. It's a very cool continuation of this design with like some EFF like touch to it. And of course, more squareness added, but still has that cool. You know, it's funny because I built the HGUC, and it's one of the models that I will never sacrifice in my kit bashing.
That's why you buy 3 of them.
Yeah, that's why you buy 3 of them. But yeah, it just looks.
This isn't a card game.
Yeah, classic theory. You build one, you keep one, and you keep one to sell or something.
Yeah.
No, you keep one just in case something breaks on the one you're building.
That's planning for failure.
Awesome. I built it before too, and it's a really good kit. I was surprised at the size of it. It's pretty massive as well. But the thing, what I liked about this one is like you could change some of the parts, being that it's HGUC with the Gaplant. I've seen people do customs with it, interchanging some parts with it. So again, really good kit. Good choices there.
And so number 1 is the Ashimar.
Yeah.
Damn, y'all.
Yes.
Y'all got the same shit.
So the Ashimar, I mean, it's so cute. Look at it. It's a flying donut, man.
It's a fucking flying donut. It's awesome. Yeah.
And I'm imagining.
I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Yeah. I was even joking, like my friend, and when the high grade was released, I was like, imagine like in the Sunrise like show planning room when they were saying, "Oh, guys, we need a new like mecha for the villains. Like what do we go with?" And imagine one of the designers was just eating like a donut, and he's like, "Oh, donut. Well, why don't we just make something that looks like a donut?" And like, yes, we go with that.
You probably threw a donut at someone, and then it's like orange. Okay, that's it. That's our next.
Get this man a raise.
Yeah, if I may say so, I think it's more along the lines of back in the 60s after the race war, right? A lot of the UFOs that were sightings were always disc shaped.
Yeah.
And this is an original Okawara design. So I'm pretty sure he drew, I think, because he does a lot of stuff from what he's passed us. So it could be that, you know, it could be from the UFO concepts and stuff like that people have been talking about in the UFO community.
The fact that they fold out is fucking insane to me. This perfect circle turns into like a neck, like a transformer.
Probably closest thing to that would be Cosmos. There's a transformer UFO, but it's a full-on UFO. This thing is like, every time I see this, I'm thinking of those survival tubes, like the flotation device from the boats. You know, like
And I remember think Ariel, you showed like a picture of the high grade, but what I really love about that model is that it's not a parts former. You know, when you actually to transform it, literally you can just transform the suit as is without adding any extra parts. Right?
Yeah.
The gun it comes off, but I just love the fact that you don't have to do any part swapping in the transformation. It just
Correct.
goes from
Similar.
Make it look more legit in terms of like, oh yeah, it could have been possible in the
yeah,
end.
exactly. Yeah.
Also,
And,
the Ashmark 2 or the Ashmark 3. What's the one for Unicorn?
The Angsha.
Angsha.
Yeah.
I have it at the back too. I built it because it's also a development from this. That one, I think you have to pop something out in order for it to transform. Yeah.
But anyways, here I have again like a picture of the prototype Ashimar from Zeta, and I just think it's such a cool take on the design. I mean, I mean,
I wonder if they could keep the design as like, could it be a great high grade? Like, is this just an artwork that would look great? Could it be translated as well into a model kit? I don't know. I don't think it's.
I like with the amount of design that we were seeing in model kits these days. I'd be surprised if they can't do it. Like when you, Derick, you're talking about what do you call it, the Cubely, for example, that they have to manually do that stuff. We don't do that anymore. That process is outdated already by like newer technology. They could like resin print this and mass produce it by casting if they really wanted to, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, good designs. I think Bandai should explore all these designs. I want more AOZ. Send me the. I'll buy the hell out of it.
Yeah. All right.
Technically, they are.
That's my list.
That's it. That's it. He doesn't want the screen anymore. I do have Hayden next on deck here.
Jesus Christ.
So this guy, the Boundock. There we go. This is
Boundock
not
Origin, right? That's not the.
All right.
Oh, okay. I guess you're sharing it. Okay. All right. Good.
Oh, you did.
All right. I just got my dumb screen share to work.
Can you just do it? Look through it.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Put it away.
It's cool though. I like your photos. All right, guys. We'll give you 5 seconds, and I have it, and there you go.
Right.
Nice.
So you see the small little dude. I see my screen.
That's a Gaza.
Yeah.
That's the
So
Gaza.
this is a Gaza. See. Yeah. So I really like really just abstract weird designs, something that doesn't fit the Gundam mold. And this is definitely one of them. So this is my third design, and I just like the fact that like this really is like to what was it called, the Justice Gundam, I think, is that what it's called? The one from Gundam Seed.
Aegis,
like the one from Gundam Seed.
Go on.
And it's like about I don't even know what it's called, but it's really very reminiscent of it.
Is it the Chaos?
Not Chaos. It's the main character's best friend or whatever.
Calamity or no?
Aegis.
No, the Aegis. It'll be the Aegis.
Aegis. Yes, Aegis. Yeah. Aegis.
Oh,
Yeah. So like, this I really dig this.
I know what you mean, like with the feet manipulators.
Out and
yeah. Except there's
now
four
I
of
get
them,
it.
right? Yeah. And like, I really like the prongs on the thing. It's very interesting. But I don't think it's stripped. Again, it does look a little weird. So for my second place is actually Palace Athene. So the model kit form of Palace Athene, amazing. I've never seen a kit made like during that time that had closed fists, and also I just really like the kind of Western and like interpretation that was added as well, like the giant skirts, right? The flaring like back pieces, and like like Haman and the Qubeley usually overshadows like the Palace Athene and Rekoa, but I think the Palace Athene is a very interesting design. It just has like a lot of like things that break the traditional mold of what like Gundam grunt suits even supposed to look like, right? So yeah, that's one of the better ones. And for my favorite one is the Boundock. So, yeah, the bound dock in the show kind of looks really silly, actually,
quick
in
question.
my opinion.
Why did you choose like the 1980 kit instead of like the brand new release that just came out as a cover?
Because the brand new release can suck my ass, dude.
Nice.
So I don't like the CG box art stuff. I think hand drawn stuff just looks a little bit more appealing to me.
Respect.
So the bound dock does look really silly. Like it's got this like giant flat back skirt, right? With like these.
So we get some people looking at it. Is that possible?
Where
are you on? There you go. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So like it's really ridiculous, right? It's like it's got stubby like legs on this giant back. I don't even know what this is, like a huge binder thing, and it's got the shield and everything, right? But
arms and all that,
yeah. So I think this design, I'm not sure what's going on, but maybe it might be like a little bit too kind of like complex or out there for Gundam. So this is one of like what I really like is actually Kobayashi's rendition of the bound dock. So this is the one in the show, and the one that I really like is this one. This is the bound dock, but it's from a show that Kobayashi made called Dragon's Heaven. Basically, he shoved a lot of like rejected designs, Gundam designs, reformat them into something that fits within their universe, right? So you see the bound docks like, thing from the show.
Silhouette is there. If you take out the leg,
but it doesn't have like legs or anything, right? It's just like thrusters. It's really hitting that like sci-fi, but it's not. It's like fantasy more like, right? Like it's not realistic, but there's realism to it, right?
Yeah.
Like one of those classic heavy metal magazines, or like 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 very advancing into the cyberpunk feel and classic 80s. Like I'm not gonna say underground sci-fi. It's not mainstream at all, right? It was launched into like
this never really caught on, I don't think.
No, exactly, but it's still like an iconic style where.
Yeah, and Kobayashi has been releasing these books called Hyper Weapon like every single year.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Almost yearly. So Kobayashi's stuff is very intriguing. It's just like the scale. What I really appreciate is the detail. Like if you zoom in here, right? Like the detail is not just like simple dumb panel lines that modelers put onto their kit to create things. It's way
so much
thinner,
hate.
Right? I just don't. I love panel lines, but it needs to be done in a more like
creative way.
How'd I say?
You'll have to get Ryan Lau in here. Don't deter him too much.
Ryan is very Katoki ship. Like I love that. He definitely has a certain style, but this is like this shows the sheer size, right? The fact that it's so like weird and abstract like that. If you put like a Zeta Gundam next to this, it makes it feel like the Zeta Gundam might be a lot smaller, right? Just because the level of detail that we have going on here and the variety of textures too, right? So bound dock, very, very nice design. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So the winner, I think, of the most voted ones is a tie.
Is it?
The Marasai and the Ashmar as the favorite to a pair each. So wow. Tiebreaker though.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
From Alf and Jonathan. Like who should be, if you were to choose between a Marasai and Ashimar, which design do you guys prefer?
You go first.
Oh fuck, dude! Don't do that. Wait, let me think about. Yo! Shut the fuck up. Let me think about this. I mean, Marasai
Ashimar versus Marasai. So it's Kobayashi versus Okawara.
Yeah.
So
that's the showdown.
From my point of view, I'm gonna say, my first argument into that I'm gonna debate is that Marasai is mainstream and he follows the trend. It fits right in, right? I find Ashimar creates a very interesting more feel, like it's creative. I don't like how its leg is like squarish compared to like the roundish design and transformation. I think that's a little odd, but it does lead into the Kihar, which becomes the ultimate form of the kit, let's say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote standalone. It would be Marasai. Potential, it would be Ashimar. So it's kind of. I'm gonna go
Ashimar. Man, I'm gonna pick one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ashimar. Ashimar, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now
I was gonna say Ashimar as well.
Oh, nice.
Because the Ashimar just has this kind of unique feeling to it. Marasai is a great extension of, I think, the Zaku, and like that realism. But I think that Ashimar is kind of pushing this ridiculousness onto the Zeta Gundam. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, donuts, man.
That's it.
Yeah, donuts for the win.
The next, like, do we have time for the other subjects, guys? Do you guys want to talk briefly about what fave characters and how Zeta should have ended? Do we have time? Or do you,
yeah, sure. How Zeta ended?
So
how Zeta ended? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they retconned. Well, first they retconned it in the movie, right?
Yes.
Let's go with movies.
Camille did not turn into a vegetable,
which is honestly like the best. That's my opinion. Is that I think because he's still conscious and there, it creates more path into creation. Just like how Amuro was leading into Zeta, was leading into Char's counterattack. Camille could actually grow up as an adult and do like more stories, right? And maybe at some point, like, I don't know, all the new types, they get together to fight a bigger evil or something.
I would have liked to see a duel between, like, well, the thing is, like, will he turn though, right? Because he's still Ayug at this point. He's not
that's it.
Any sides, like, I mean, if he does choose a side, like, that will have an advantage.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting topic to talk about too, because like Camille, I don't know where his like ideological alliance is to. I think it's just something that he feels is right in his heart, rather than he doesn't. I feel like Camille is in a way like also like in a weird way a victim of war, whereas like Char is like an ideological person who kind of knows like what he thinks. He has opinions, you know. He's politically charged, right? But I don't think Camille is that type of person. He doesn't have that kind of like
political agenda.
Yeah, he doesn't have that like insight. He's just a very good pilot and has a lot of empathy for love, right? Because he's a new type. Yeah.
It's like the difference between a product of something, a product of war that Char is, and as you said, Alf, Camille is a victim of it, right? Not necessarily the product of the war. And Char is very much the product of the war, right? So when you're a product of something, you're going to have, you know, those trace ideology things. Whereas Camille, he doesn't really have it. It's kind of loose.
So that's why I think Camille's story is Zeta Gundam, right? Yeah. Like his story, his chapter ends there, but Char and Amuro, they have a bigger destiny.
Yeah.
Right.
They were written to a point where they will continue, where like, you know, they probably have like bigger plans, and we obviously saw that in future episodes. Whereas Camille, I like the idea that it ended. I'm happy when stories end or chapters end, because you've seen the arc. Can he potentially go further than that? Then it's just like almost a tango.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of like I'm not a politically charged person, but then one day I'm like I'm super into politics and I'm gonna drop a colony on Earth, and Char was right. You know, like it's, I don't know. I think for Camille, his story is told there, and I'm very happy that he lives a healthy life with Fa, right?
Yeah.
You see that at I guess spoilers, Double Zeta. That's the end of Double Zeta.
It's not anime.
Yeah.
Not anime. That's the intro. But anyway, let's go, Nate. Name a character of your favorite from the show.
Favorite character?
Yeah.
Favorite character is hard to choose because there's so many, and so many of them die.
I mean, if they die, it doesn't mean that they're bad characters. They just died.
I mentioned it earlier in the show, but I do sympathize a lot with Jared.
Okay.
Because
it's so hard to sympathize with him because he's
in the war, and then he makes some like choices, but you know, he accidentally kills Camille's parents. But then again, it wasn't really his fault, since the the whole thing was like a big misunderstanding, and he was still like a greenhorn at the time, just wanting to prove himself. But I really like Char. I really like the interpretation of Char in Zeta Gundam because here we go. Like you have the classic anime trope of like the switcheroo, where now like the old antagonist is now like the anti-hero or the hero in the story. And I just love the fact that like he becomes a mentor for Camille at various points in the story. Like becomes sort of that like big brother figure.
He's excited how to revenge plot, but like in a PG version. It's like, I killed my best friend, but this is what you could do. Take that Gundam over there. See those guys over there? Guys, those guys over there, they're so bad. Go kill them. Those guys.
I think in that way that like Char is a tour guide into the world of UC, right?
Yeah.
Like he is everywhere, and his actions determine the fate of everything in that world, right? So, I mean, like even in Unicorn, spoilers, a literal fucking clone of him is making the decisions, which is like the dumbest fucking thing ever.
I'm never gonna.
They should have never done that. Fuck Unicorn. Okay, all right, I'm done with my rant, but Char.
Yeah, go on.
Quattro, like a little thing there is interesting, but I was really like, I think it was really weird because maybe I haven't watched it recently, and maybe that's why. But his I'm not sure if he like learned what it is that he has decided to do, which led up to Char's counterattack. I don't think
love is.
Yeah, maybe he was like, yo man, y'all can't run shit. I can run this shit. But I don't think that's what happened. I haven't dug too deep into that. But this transitional phase I think is very important, right? Because it either breaks or makes or breaks Char's counterattack.
I think it solidified Char's character in like as a diverse and complex character too. Like he has his own demons, and like before it was the revenge demons. Now it's like figuring himself out.
Yeah,
demons.
exactly.
Yeah. So like the question is whether or not I know he figures himself out because he eventually leads into Neo Zeon, right?
Yeah.
But what is that catalyst, right?
I know that's what I've been saying.
thing?
There's a missing link between Zeta and Char's counterattack that I'm dying to see, right? Char's leading to the decision of growing into like his rightful place.
Yeah, but it's possible that Zeta has already like explored that, and it's just something that we have to kind of like dig a little bit deeper into, like perhaps like maybe a rewatch someday.
Maybe a manga or something that could like.
I haven't watched.
Like it's possible that the show has already highlighted that fact, right? So I personally don't know. But all I know is the man that he becomes is the climax of UC.
Yeah.
Like legacy ends there.
And then there's Unicorn. Derek.
Oh no!
Your character of Zeta. What do you got, man?
I actually have to agree with Half on this one. For me, I share it with him. It is Char Quattro Vagina because it's his sabbatical, right? It's his life after revenge. What do you do? Like he got it, right? He got revenge. Now what does he do? It's a story not only just him not just about Camille, but it's like him discovering who he is, what he should do, how does he shed whatever, right? Being a product of the war, right? And so, and all the stuff that he does is iconic because it shapes every decision he makes changes the political scheme of the entire UC universe in one way or the other, right?
Yeah,
so,
yes, definitely. Yeah, it shifted a lot of stuff, not only to his favor, but like it set up, it exposed a lot of stuff too. The Titans, the Roko's plans, etc. Like he even a lot of people might consider him a bad guy, but in this one, to your points, guys, like he's doing his thing the best he can, and it's like holy crap, there are other people that are worse than him when the war.
Yeah.
It's possible that he watched how this unfolded, right? Like at the end of the day, no matter how complex the conflict becomes, at the end of the day, it's just Haman, and the leader Jamatov and Shiroko all going through a power struggle, whereas Char, maybe like the anti-Earth Union group, really just wants to care about Earth, right?
Yeah.
In the mission statement, but the people there are, like Hamon's consumed by spite, right, and hates, has a bias and hatred against Char. Paptimus is like a egotist, like a charismatic egotist who just really wants power, and Jamatov is just an old boomer who's waiting to die. So, like, it's as a maybe that's the thing that ignites him to take action, right, into his own hand, because he says, I can probably do this better because I care about the people, which is what my father did as well. I cared about the new type, right? I care about people. I care about Earth. I don't care about power. Power is just something I need to enact change.
It means an end.
Yeah.
All right. Last one here. Let's go with John. Someone that's Char.
So I'm a Char fanboy, right? But I think
exactly. So we can't have Char on this.
No, that's it. But I think you guys covered it.
Here.
You guys covered it very well. But I think one of the things that it's been ignored is that Hamon is introduced as a grown woman for the first time, right? So you see her personality in a very static way, in a very established way, how she acts. She's a little cold. She has a lot of resentment. She's angry, but she's a complex character. So sadly, I think this is the best interpretation of Hamon that we have, because in Double Zeta, it's a caricature and basically like a parody of Gundam that doesn't put her in her best light. So they always make fun of like the tropes of Gundam and stuff like that. It's a great show, Double Zeta, but I don't think it brings Hamon to the best character that she can be. And I think Zeta highlights the best character traits that you can find in Hamon, and she should be portrayed in Zeta and never in Double Zeta. So
nice. Oh, that's good. That's
Hamon. Yeah, I think Hamon's definitely like a good character, but I think like Hamon's just like a victim that's she's a victim of Char's retardation, right? Like inexperience, or like rather like it's just Char's like kind of naturally like manipulative, right? As a person. So she's kind of like poking her head into like a beehive, right? You're gonna come out bitten, and that like it's a really good. That's why I think like Tomino can actually like really write deep, complex characters. I've seen some criticism online saying that he can't, but I completely disagree. I think he knows humanity so well. He literally wrote a fucking show about it, right? Like So
and I think it shows that Tomino has written like a show where there's no good and bad. It's a very gray area, even in such an early time. So I think it's a great interpretation of character. Yeah, you're right.
Nice. Well, guys, there are a lot of stuff covered, and again, thank you guys for tuning in both on YouTube and Instagram, YouTube and Twitch. Lots more to cover. We might even do a part 2 of the Zeta, just because like I think there are characters, like more stories that we haven't had a chance to cover. And as we mentioned earlier on to the show, that we're not going to cover every single aspect in the show because there's so much. It's such a big world.
But I think when we lead into
Zeta Gundam, whatever.
But as soon as we get into Double Zeta, there's going to be like a transition, like a prequel to what is happening and what is the situation. So I think we're still going to cover a lot more in Double Zeta when we
So seriously, it's going to be last week of a month, ongoing episodes, and most likely our folks here are going to be back because like it was just so much fun to talk with them about it. Very knowledgeable on that. So again, thank you guys for coming in. But before we go, let's do like a final question for all you guys. And maybe let the audience find let them know where they could find you on social media and whatnot. Let's start with Nate. Nate, again, thank you for coming in tonight. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
Nate.
If you were to sell me 5 second, 10 second sales pitch of Zeta Gundam, your best Zeta, you have to sell me this. All right, how would you sell it, man? Sell it to me.
Sell you the show.
Yeah, sell to the fans that are watching how to watch and who have not seen the show, why it's an awesome show.
I would say if you love the original Gundam and you just want to watch more Gundam, that's really the place to go.
That's Zeta. Yeah. I agree a lot with that sentiment.
That's awesome. And Nate, where would they be able to find you, man?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. The handle is at NATO Builds, NEITO BUILDS Builds. NATO Builds.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's in the description, guys, of the YouTube video. Again, Nate, thanks for tuning in for being here and tuning in as well. Let's go with Derick. Your sales pitch for Gundam Zeta for our audience. What do you got, man?
A pitch. If you don't watch Zeta, just quit the hobby, man.
As a bad president, they might actually just walk away because they're angry you said that. I show him. I'll never watch Zeta. Fuck you, Derick.
Here's the thing, though. Like you are missing out if you don't watch it.
Yeah,
because world
it's a hard.
Interesting.
It lays the foundation for every other UC that comes after it.
Yeah.
Right. And it definitely lays the foundation to my favorite show, which caused a lot of depression, which is Victory Gundam, right? And so basically, just watch it so you don't miss out, right?
Nice. All right, I'll give that an 8.5. I think that's very acceptable, guys. Quit the hobby if you don't like Zeta.
If you don't watch Zeta,
strong
you may or may not like Zeta is fine, but as long as you
it's
watch,
worth a watch, I think.
It's worth a watch.
And Derick, you're most active with your group out there in Vancouver, Vanpla. Amazing group, guys. If you haven't had a chance, check them out. Facebook.com/groups/Vanpla. They have an awesome community. Also, they have a Discord server group community. Again, check them out, guys, when you get a chance. Give them a follow.
For those of you guys who are suffering from the COVID craziness and being cooped up, every Fridays and Saturdays we get together. We're building together. We put on shows.
Yeah. Derick and I are always on there. Or like almost daily. So if you want to talk shit and you want to question my opinions, then you can come on by to the Vanpla Discord server.
Or just stream at Hauf and myself at that. So
and man, fuck you. Unicorn sucks. Okay, all right.
I agree with. Unicorn should not have been made.
Well, okay. Those are really strong opinions that people are going to be very angry over. So we should probably save that till that day.
Over Friday, guys, it's going to be a pay-per-view event. We're going to have Unicorn fans on the other and the people that are right. So let's let's talk. I have the Facebook and Instagram here for Nate.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, speaking of talking shit, we have Hayden here. Thank you again for your insightful words. Let's go.
Thank you
for the Gundam, man. Okay, sell me Zeta, man. Sell the audience Zeta.
If you really like smoothies and carrots and all sorts of vegetables, and you really care about your omega-3 and your vitamin A intake, go watch Zeta. That's honestly like okay. If you want a real one, like if you've watched the original Gundam, like I mean, like, you know, Nate has said it already. Like it is that show where like after Gundam you just have so many questions, right? You don't know what the fuck is going on. What happens to Char? What happens to Amuro? This is like that foundation that they lay to make so many more new shows, so you could buy so many of their shitty toys. So go watch Zeta for that idea. Then you could be like that Star Wars nerd that's like, I know what that is. I know what that is. That's from Zeta. Yeah, I love Ashamar.
Awesome.
And then like, you know.
And where would they find you, man, on your socials?
So I have Instagram and YouTube now. My Instagram is hey_BC, and if you want to watch, I build model kits, so I record them and everything too with commentary. It's on YouTube as just type in like Hey Gundam, and then you'll find me.
I watched it.
I recently
and it
geared Doga.
Yeah, it's so like soft and full of serenity. It's like
I feel like I'm in a spa.
Yeah. You can use cement. You can use super glue. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's good. You can go ahead.
Go to ASMR.
It's like freedom is an expression. You can like. And I was like,
I'm-
nice.
when I do the recordings, I'm like really fucking tired. So that's usually when I'm more chill. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe next video I'll do a Red Bull before I do the recording. We'll
Nice.
see what happens. But yeah, hey, workshop Gundam. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Jonathan, sales pitch on Zeta.
Yeah.
I know you love Zeta.
Well,
show
yeah.
the world how much
But-
you love it.
So okay, so oh fuck, it's gonna be a bad sales pitch. So is you don't watch it for the story. Watch it for the groundbreaking mobile suits, the mobile suits that led to the evolution of what the hobby is today. And don't watch it for the story again. Watch it for the foundation of the Universal Century.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Thank you. What about you, Ariel?
Uh, so privileged white kid steals daddy's new whip.
Was he white? I mean, we can't
I don't know.
assume that. That's low.
Sorry, no.
Camille. That could be Mexican.
Hey, if you're
It
into
could be
guys that look like girls almost, this is the show for you.
Oh my god, that's good.
All right.
No,
No,
get the BLs in here.
lurkers, this is to you. Shout out to all the lurkers out there. World building, character development, transforming robots, guy getting slapped, and lots of like fight scenes. I think this Gundam actually had a lot of weekly fight scenes. Almost every episode, there's an action sequence, and new mobile suits being introduced. So if you like really interesting designs about two robots fighting or multiple robots fighting at the same time, Gundam Zeta, hands down, cool stuff. Aside on top of the story of the characters that everybody else has mentioned so far. So yeah, that's my sales pitch on that. Okay, guys, we are nearing the end of our show. I just want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors and partners of the show. Don't forget, guys, to check out our Facebook group over at Side 6 Facebook group. Facebook.com/groups/side6. We are a community of mecha lovers here, and we love everything that is related to it. So feel free to stop by and check us out. Also, this show is powered by MSMN Studio. Guys, check them out if you're looking for mobile suit, model kits, tools. Jonathan, if you want to bug him, show him an email, guys.
Yeah,
MSMN Studio.
That's a great shop. Shop. Well, it's pandemic time, right? So don't come in great numbers, but you can always come to the shop, and happy to help and talk more about Zeta if you want.
There you go. Also, this show is powered by USA Gundam Store. Check them out, guys. USAGundamStore.com for model kits, supplies, and all of that in between. You can use my discount code AOMECA10. And lastly, AOMECA Live. Pending return date. It's now pushed towards latter half of March to April just because I'm busy, but I will be back and I'm creating a whole bunch of new stuff and content. Audio ammo, new tracks being released weekly still on Tuesdays over at youtube.com/AOMecha. So give that a check-see as well. And guys, thank you so much for everybody here. Derick, Nate, and Hayden. Guys, amazing show. So
thank you,
hopefully
guys.
Happy to be here, man.
Yeah.
All right.
What else do we say? Should we just say bye? Should we just go like this?
Yeah.
And go, hey,
See you guys.
Thank you for watching. Okay, bye.
Thank you for watching, guys.
Oh man, what a great show! I love it. So we're just like, I just have the screen right now, but we could still continue talking. Just want to let people know. I should get going.
Yakushiki, right? Like that gold is obnoxious, but it fits. It's a makes it nice. But
nice. All right. Well, good night, guys.
Get the Knight of Gold.
Knight of Gold. Yes. Talking about Nagano, right? Talking about Nagano. Knight of Gold just got released. So
yeah, it's all crazy. Try to get. They're gonna have another reprint soon, so get your pre-orders in.
Nice.
That's it. All right.